This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL deadline passing at this moment for franchise tag players to sign long-term deals with their respective teams. Waiting for word on any developments with the trio of tagged running backs. Saquon Barkley of the Giants, the Raiders' Josh Jacobs, and Dallas's Tony Pollard. Unlike Barkley and Jacobs, Pollard did sign his franchise tag and attended the Cowboys' offseason program. Free agent receiver DeAndre Hopkins made his choice. ESPN's Diana Rossini reports he's expected to sign a 2-year deal with the Titans instantly. He becomes the most veteran receiver in Tennessee's inexperienced wideout room. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
You got D-Hop on the outside. You're going to have to respect D-Hop. He's not a burner. He's not going to run past you. But the one thing that DeAndre Hopkins is going to do, any ball thrown in his vicinity, he's going to catch the ball. He's going to be the number one guy.
And this just in from ESPN's Jordan Bernard. The Giants and Barkley failing to strike a deal before the tag deadline at 4 Eastern. Much more coming up on Canty and Carlin. Martin Truex Jr. won today's NASCAR Cup Series race at New Hampshire.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
I'll do it again. And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days in Nashville. Muse, I hear an echo. We are fired up to be here. And day one, pushing off from the dock, LSU after Greg Sankey. We also got to see the Missouri Tigers and the Texas A&M Aggies taking their turn as we speak here in Nashville for 2023 SEC Football Media Days. If you're new to the show, thanks for being here. If you've been here for some time, you know how I feel about this event. We get an opportunity to binge on SEC football in the middle of July. I'm here for it every single year. Anytime we get a chance to do it, I'm down. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. So I'll start a little bit with what Brian Kelly and Greg Sankey had to say today and some reaction. LSU, as we sit here at 3 o'clock Central Time, they're already on a plane back to Baton Rouge. So I did have the opportunity to sit down one-on-one with Jayden Daniels, with Mekhi Wingo, with Josh Williams. You will hear all of those conversations. Our buddy Billy Liucci from Tex Ags will be here. And there's a good, if not great, chance that the A&M and Missouri players will float through Radio Row while we're down here. So hoping that we'll be able to get some of them as we move through. So let's start today, if we could, with a little bit of an overview of how the day has gone. And I'll kind of set the stage for today and give you some reaction to what was said. Greg Sankey led off today, as he always does, with his State of the Conference address. He spoke for about 40 minutes, and this is generally an opportunity to tout all of the very positive things going on, like championships, etc., and then probably to do a little bit of saber rattling and stumping for what is to come or what he would like to see come. Greg Sankey, as we all expected, my assumption was, and every time I was asked, that there was two things that Greg Sankey largely was going to talk about today. NIL and a future schedule in the SEC. Of course, the schedule that we have is the stopgap, the 1-year abbreviated 8-game schedule that will decide if they continue with that format or move to something different moving forward. First, let's start with what Sankey had to say. Muse, can you play number 3, please? Not only Greg Sankey did what everybody does, which is start by saying, hey, NIL, great, we're glad that student athletes get to make money. And then out of one side of the mouth and on the other side of the mouth said, hey, yeah, although it's ruining college athletics, essentially. And Greg Sankey called on Congress to intervene.
To our knowledge, no state has taken action to enforce its own state laws around name, image, and likeness activity. At the same time, we've seen in a number of states laws enacted that bar associations, the NCAA, or conferences, including the Southeastern Conference, from enforcing what, at our level, at the conference level, are still to be adopted, if ever, NIL policies. In other words, the states haven't been active in enforcing laws, and now states are preventing the NCAA or conferences from adopting and enforcing reasonable name, image, and likeness standards. If states will not enforce the laws, and states are going to prohibit the NCAA or conferences from enforcing these reasonable policies, congressional action is then the only way to provide a national uniform standard for name, image, and likeness activity, and to draw the lines around the boundaries that do not become simply pay for play. Simply pay for play.
Here's my big question about this. I understand why Greg Sankey and coaches want boundaries around NIL. I don't think you care. I don't care. I don't think you care either. You meaning the masses, Americans. I don't think the United States, the average citizen of the United States of America cares at all what type of federal legislation exists around college athletes making money on name, image, and likeness. And considering that, I don't think Congress has any desire whatsoever to throw itself in the midst of that conversation. So I don't. Dude, he is a really powerful dude. And he can enact a lot of change and force people to move and to jump and to act when it comes to issues of intercollegiate athletics. I do not believe Greg Sankey can force Congress to move with respect to name, image, and likeness if they have no desire to do so. And I don't believe that they do. So I don't know that we are going to see anything along those lines, because until it reaches level that it matters nationally, why change anything? So there was that. And then Greg Sankey also today talked about the 9-game schedule. And this was, I want to go to number 9, Muse, if we can. And Greg Sankey was asked if the reason they stuck with 8 games, if the reason a 9-game schedule was shelved was financially motivated. Here's what he said.
There were a lot of issues. So if you think about what we're going to see next year, we have expansion. We had 2 historically prominent football programs in Oklahoma and Texas, and not only prominent, but successful. We have the college football playoff changes, lingering questions about what that may or may not mean, discussions about non-conference scheduling. And when I was asked in Destin about timing for the 25 decision, we could go out to Destin next year. The earlier we do that, the less pain we cause for the discontinuation of non-conference games. And one of the bigger elements was that non-conference game issue.
All of those things are true. And when he's talking about the non-conference game, it's games that have already been scheduled. You schedule a non-conference series 10 years out, and you have to cancel it. There are penalties within that contract. So yes, there are ramifications for canceling non-conference games. If you go to 9 league games, you are removing a non-conference game that could already be scheduled. So I completely agree with that. Pain, that makes a lot of sense as well. All of this boils down to, like 100% of this boils down to revenue, because money trumps it all. If ESPN had stepped up, and when the SEC wanted to negotiate in good faith after adding Texas and Oklahoma, and I'll give you a very, very, very abbreviated Cliff's Notes version of this. The contract that ESPN has with the SEC suggests that if the league expands, okay, here's the deal. If we expand, revenue is going to go up. And it's going to go up by the average share that's distributed. So if every school gets X, right, well, the TV contract is going to go up by that number annually per school. So you add 2 schools, it goes up by 2 shares. The SEC has argued, yeah, but Texas and Oklahoma aren't the average of 2 shares. We need you to negotiate in good faith. If ESPN had said, you know what, you're right, here's a buttload of money, SEC, this is done. The 9-game thing is done. All of those other things are very convenient conversations to have, which are money. This issue persists. So that's what Greg Sankey had to say by and large when he took his turn earlier today. That all of you care very deeply about us being here is to talk about all of the teams that are here and the games and the schedules and the conference and the players. And I will tell you this. In just a moment, in our next segment, we're going to let you hear from LSU defensive lineman Mekhi Wingo. And it was fun to sit down with the LSU guys today. But I will tell you this. Unless if all of the humans here with which I have spoken in the last 8 hours are lying to my face, LSU is going to be picked to win the SEC West here this week. The thing that I've said to you all for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, which is I'm not giving Alabama the benefit of the doubt. I'm not burying Alabama. I'm not telling you that it's over, Nick's era is done. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is, for the first time in a long time, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. That opinion has been echoed resoundingly here today over the last 8 hours. And I do believe that when we leave here on Thursday and then on Friday when the league announces the preseason all-conference team and the projected order of finish and all that stuff, the media is going to pick Georgia to win the SEC, and they should. Georgia should be picked to win the SEC, but LSU is going to be picked to win the SEC West. And that is an overwhelming feeling here. And it was a dramatic about-face from a year ago where every conversation around LSU at Media Days last year was about Brian Kelly dancing with recruits and how he said family and if he was a cultural fit and all of that sort of stuff that had nothing to do whatsoever with football. Well, all of that changed. You win 10 games and you beat Alabama and you win the West and the conversation changes. Everyone all of a sudden isn't laughing anymore. And believe me when I tell you, nobody here laughing about LSU today. So we'll let you hear plenty about what Brian Kelly had to say and the players. When we come back from Radio Row here at SEC Football Media Days, we'll let you hear our conversation with Mekhi Wingo. Our coverage all week long here is presented by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. And also our friends at Rev Business and Relief Windows. It is After Further Review. We are on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days in Nashville, Tennessee. Mekhi Wingo is next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Of course, always a great opportunity to get by Rouse's. As we're going through these summer months, maybe you want something hot to eat, something cold to drink, or some chips and dips to enjoy by the pool or whatever it may be. Rouse's has got you covered. Been helping people in Louisiana make groceries for more than 60 years now. Of course, you can get to the website at Rouse's.com. Download the Rouse's app if you haven't done it. It will change the way you shop for groceries. Download the app. Of course, curbside delivery and pickup options. So if you want, somebody your personal shopper will go pick out your items for you and then bring them out to your car when you show up. There's always, of course, the opportunity for delivery. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You can find the location nearest you. You can shop online or on the app at Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HudcoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job
HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
This team.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by HUDCO Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
One of the things that I love the most about this event, and I say it every year when we start, is you may have a rundown, but you never know who's going to walk by and sit down. And so I love that about these shows and these days. And our buddy Lynn Scarbrough from Lindy's Magazine literally walked by as I was wrapping up that segment. We're talking. I was like, you got time right now? So Lynn Scarbrough from Lindy's joins us right now. How are you?
I'm doing great. Always good to see you. I was talking to some other folks. It's a shame that, hey, Jimmy, it's a shame that, we get to see people so seldom. Yeah. Back in the old days, when communications weren't as great as they are now, and you couldn't just know what happens 15 minutes ago.
Right.
We used to get on the road, and we used to go out and see radio stations we work with, go out and see our advertisers and all. And we don't do that as much now.
Yeah.
And it's lost because I'm an old, Archie Bunker of sports. But I miss those days.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that we don't. I'm sorry we don't get down into Louisiana as much as we used to. But same thing. It's one of the great things to do, to be able to see people, renew friendships, and make contacts and get links on things here. And it's a blessing to get to do that. And blessing always to talk to you about your family. I don't want to get into that personal stuff, but you've got a strong testimony story in your family, and it's always good to get caught up with you on that.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it sincerely. You sat down, and you don't know this, but right before you sat down, I went to break, and I was saying the conversation around LSU this year is a 180 from a year ago, when all anyone wanted to talk about was how Brian Kelly said family, dancing with recruits, if he was a cultural fit, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you win 10 games and you beat Alabama and you win the SEC West, and now all of a sudden you have everyone's attention. And I said, before you sat down, on Friday, when the league announces the order of finish, and LSU is going to be picked to finish the West by the people here, unless if all of the people here I've spoken with today are lying to my face. And what did you tell me when you sat down?
I said, hey, what do you want to talk about? I'm going to pick LSU number one. And so you said, good, let's do a segment right now. And again, I mean, that's the truth. I'm voting, and I'll explain my rationale behind it.
Okay.
Is I'm going to vote LSU to win the West, and there's a good possibility I'll vote them to beat Georgia in the East.
Okay.
I got to evaluate a little bit closer. But our top 5 in the country are Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, and LSU in that order. Okay.
Give it to me again. I'm sorry. Give it to me again.
We got Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Ohio State 3.
Okay.
Alabama 4.
Bama,
LSU 5. And I'm going to make a note when we get off the air. I'm going to mail you our LSU cover edition of the Southeastern, so that you'll have that to refer to in the lead into the season. I'll make a note to myself to do that. Number 1, 3, and 4 have something in common. They all lost a senior award-winning, record-setting quarterback. And Michigan's not in that shape. And LSU, in my opinion, I'm probably voting Daniels, my first-string All-SEC quarterback.
Okay.
I might, if everybody had the same supporting cast, I might vote the Mississippi State quarterback.
Will Rogers.
Will Rogers. But he's very good. But he's not. He doesn't have the supporting cast behind him. And you haven't seen since Paul Hornung a Heisman Trophy winner that didn't win more than half of his games. And so I can't put Rogers up there. But you've got good quarterbacks. Or you got a few. You got Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Daniels from LSU. You got Jefferson from Arkansas. You've got the boy at Kentucky.
Devin Leary, the transfer,
played for NC State. And these are good quarterbacks. Hey, if I voted for the team with the best quarterback room, it's Ole Miss. They got Will Howard and Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders.
From Oklahoma State.
Spencer Sanders was my choice going into last season as the first team All Big 12 quarterback. So they're loaded. They got a better quarterback room than anybody else. But I think LSU, with Daniels, has got the guy that I'll be putting as the first team All-SEC quarterback, because you look at his statistics, look at his stats, throwing his stats running, the number of touchdowns he's responsible for, the way that he handles the ball well, and he is surrounded by good players. LSU not only had the momentum from last year with the 10-win season, but they also have a top 10 recruiting class this year, and at least according to Lindy's, the people we work with, our top 6 transfer portal classes in the country were Colorado number 1, LSU number 2.
Oh wow!
Auburn number 3, and all the way down to Mississippi at number 6. 3 of the top 6 transfer portal classes in the country are SEC West. So you put a good momentum with a solid coaching staff, with a good recruiting class, with an outstanding quarterback, and a good group of transfer portals. I've just named LSU, and their schedule is a difficult schedule, but it's not difficult like some. It's not Georgia's. Now the reason I'm going to vote Georgia number 1 in the East is because of their schedule. I mean, their schedule's a joke, but let's be fair to them. You know, I'm an Auburn guy, and Auburn guys are not always fair to Georgia.
I've
However,
heard that.
To be fair to Georgia, they were going to play Oklahoma.
Yes.
All right. And the SEC office, is my understanding, told them not to play that game because Oklahoma was coming in the schedule.
Correct.
Would you look on Alabama's schedule here and tell me who their second game is?
We're playing Texas in Tuscaloosa.
So if Georgia can't play Oklahoma because Oklahoma's coming in the league, why is Alabama playing Texas with Texas coming into the league?
I do know the answer to this.
I'd like to have it.
Well, the answer is because this is the second of the home and home.
So they've got to reciprocate.
Correct. So, and Georgia, Oklahoma, that second game would have been while they were in the league.
Would have been the first. Yeah. Well, that's the only reason I could think of. But if they then would just set up the first time they play each other within the conference,
yes,
then that could have been the reciprocal.
Hey, Lynn, there's LSU fans still rightfully complaining because of COVID. LSU never got a return trip from Texas when LSU went to Austin in 2019.
Yeah.
Never got that return trip.
Yeah. Well, and they won't.
I know. This would have been a good year to do it, though.
Boy, yeah, you're right. But with the thing that's going to be most interesting, and we had a difficult time, Matt, doing the magazine. I still will put our magazine up against anybody's, but us and people like us had a tough time because I've got a journalism degree on my wall, and I take great pride in it. And I don't like it when journalism goes to where they're putting out rumors and they're putting out news fast. They don't have all the information. Well, we've got information in this magazine that's wrong because you got transfer portal players that haven't declared yet. And so we're having to make our predictions for teams in April and May when we're getting the magazines out. And you've got guys that are in transfer portal that they probably, some of them probably won't announce till August. So how can you know how to pick teams? How can a coach know who to play or what players to go after? So I'm not sure that when they came up with this transfer portal thing, and I understand the concept behind it, I'm not sure that they thought through all the ramifications of what could happen and how it would affect players, how it would affect coaches, how it would affect the media. And the same with the NIL. I understand the concept on that. But they didn't put any regulations on it. They didn't say, okay, you can do it, but it's got to be capped at a certain time or it can only be a certain limit or whatever. I'm a free enterprise guy. I'm a conservative. And so I don't like somebody coming in and saying, no, you got to put a cap on something.
I agree.
However, in this case, it might have been an exception to the rule because they've set up a situation where Texas, we're picking them, they can offer $500,000 to a player. Not going to use any names here, but they can use and Iowa State in that same conference. They don't have that money. And so there's some real problems with NIL and transfer portal as I see it. And one of the problems is what it did to Lindy's magazines and what it does to your radio shows. Because you can say that somebody's going to be so and you're basing such and such on what's happening now. What if unknown to you, some major player on some team is going to leave that program tomorrow and sign with somebody else? Well, all of a sudden what you've said may not have any validity to it.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
It definitely changes the course of the narrative. I want to add Lynn Scarbrough, Lindy's magazine, is with LindySports.com. Back-to-back S's, LindySports.com. I want to ask you about Alabama.
Sure.
Because part of the reason that I'm picking LSU to win the West is all the things you said about LSU, but also because for the first time in a long time, Lynn, I have real questions about Alabama that I'm not just giving them the benefit of the doubt because they're Alabama and they're coached by Nick. I'm not burying Alabama. I'm just saying I need you to prove it to me. What are your thoughts on the Tide?
I agree with that. I think that you start off with the quarterback. They thought they had two quarterbacks that were going to come right in and pick right up. Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that 48 hours after they had their spring game and both quarterbacks were average, and that's being a real compliment to them. I don't think it's a coincidence that 48 hours later the quarterback from Notre Dame transferred to Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that thinks that's a coincidence, I got some lakeshore property to sell you out in Arizona or whatever. So right off the bat, I think they realized that. They lost. Now they signed a great 5-star running back, but they don't have the bevy of returning running backs that they've been having. They lost some really good receivers. They had several strong guys go in the defensive line. They've had a number of guys themselves go into the transfer portal. And I agree with you. We got Texas picked in the top 10. I mean, what if Texas comes in and beats them in that second ball game? What's going to do to their psyche? Alabama's used to stacking up 6 and 7 wins, 4 season starts, and they're on a roll. Let me look at their schedule just a second here.
Sure.
See, they could lose to Texas. Ole Miss comes in with the best quarterback room in the conference, and that's the 4th game. And Alabama doesn't have that quarterback situation. They play Bo in Starkville. They go to College Station. Talk about Jimbo. Now, you talk about somebody that could be in trouble. There's a potential loss. Miami for Texas A&M.
I did want to ask you about A&M because they're here today.
And look at the next game.
Oh yes.
Auburn could be a loss. Arkansas could be a loss. Alabama could be a loss. Tennessee could be a loss. If they lose to Miami, A&M could be sitting there at 2-5. And at 2-5, I don't care how big Jimbo's contract is.
I agree.
He could be in trouble. Now, I'm going to tell you, they're not going to lose all 5 of those games. But they're not going to win them all either.
What did you project A&M?
Lindy's doesn't do picks and all. I haven't really thought about mine. I'm going to put them in the middle of the league. Their game with Auburn is a gigantic game because it's not as big a game for Auburn. I mean, it's big, but this is Hugh Freeze's first year, and this could be a honeymoon period. But Jimbo can't lose to Auburn, and he can't then turn around and lose to Arkansas. Arkansas's got everybody's kind of high on Arkansas. Arkansas's got some weaknesses, Matt. They got some holes, and if they were to start off the league losing to Miami and then losing to Auburn and Arkansas, which is possible, that they'd already have 3 losses. I think they'll have 4 wins then. But if they ended up with 3 losses by that time, they're not going to have a winning season. And all the wheels may go off. And the marriage that looks like it's supposed to be so strong between Petrino and Jimbo, is it going to be? I've talked to somebody that had talked to Petrino. They said Petrino's extremely happy now because he doesn't have the head coaching responsibility. He'll have like 1 press conference a week, and he doesn't have the pressure on him that the head coach has. This time the pressure is going to be on Jimbo. And if it doesn't work for Petrino, it's not going to be Petrino, why were you bad? It's going to be Jimbo, why did you hire him in the first place?
That's a good point.
And so, but I think probably the team, the coach on the hottest seat, despite the amount of his buyout, is Jimbo. You know, he's got to win early. Sam Pittman doesn't have to. Hugh Freeze doesn't have to. Now, if Hugh Freeze could go out and beat California and come back and beat Texas A&M, then I may change what I'm saying about Auburn.
Yeah.
They could be 4-0 going into Georgia. And Georgia's on the road without a veteran quarterback. So, but that's sort of the way I look at it initially. But after the first 2-3 weeks, you have a better feel for what's going to really happen.
A little short on time. Lynn Scarbrough, Lindy's Magazine, is here with us. Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days, brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. LSU, A&M, Missouri are the 3 teams here today. For me, it's always interesting to see the new coaches who are here every year, and I'm always curious who are here for the last time. And I think Eli Drinkwitz and Jimbo Fisher are here for the last time this year. I think they're both fired after this year. What do you think?
That could well be. That could well be. I'm not sold on either one of those teams having a banner year. So I agree with you that that's possible. Missouri particularly. Here's the deal. Jimbo's been had a top 10, top 15 recruiting class every year he's been out there. And he's getting paid the most money of anybody in I guess in college football. He cannot continue to have seasons where he's barely winning half his ball games. Last year didn't even win half. And he can't his winning record against Alabama and Auburn is horrible. And he can't keep letting those teams that he was brought in here to compete against beat them. You know, he beat LSU last year. And that was almost a job saver, image saver.
Feels like it, huh?
No, it really does.
Yeah.
And if he and I'm counting LSU as a loss, you know, I'm certainly counting Alabama as a loss. So there's your 2 right off the bat. I can't see him playing for a championship.
I think 8-4. How does it look if he's 7-5? He's gone, and I think that's a real possibility.
There's going to be a lot of pressure to have him gone.
Yeah.
And if early on he has lost to Auburn and or Arkansas, much less both of them, then I don't see much future for Jimbo.
He is Lynn Scarbrough, Lindy's Magazine, lindyssports.com, lindyssports.com. I would assume at the website you can get the magazine with the LSU cover?
Yeah.
lindyssports.com. Y'all check out the website. You can see it right there. Always a pleasure. Sure. Thanks for plopping down and having a conversation.
Too, I'm glad I hit you at this time.
I'm glad you did as well, always. That is Lynn Scarbrough. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by our friends over at DraftKings. You want to bet on all these futures, you can. The official sports betting partner here on AFR. Right now, new customers make a $5 bet, just a $5 bet on anything at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge, and you get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So do it right now. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on anything, any sport, anything. They'll instantly give you $150 in bonus bets, and all customers can take your winnings to the next level with same-game parlays. Combine your bets, bigger payouts. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles Gambling Problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. We are live here at Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. We'll knock out a quick break and continue. Thanks for being here on AFR.
AFR.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Kris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Kris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Kris's authentic Cajun meat.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com. Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Here at Corvette Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvette Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Thanks again to Lynn Scarbrough for joining us here from Radio Row. The LSU Tigers are probably somewhere in the air right now between Nashville and Baton Rouge. But before they left, we were able to sit down with all 3 LSU players in attendance. Coming up in about 22 minutes, we'll let you hear from running back Josh Williams. Jayden Daniels, our conversation at the start of hour number 3. Right now, though, our conversation with LSU All-American defensive lineman Mekhi Wingo. We continue day 1 SEC Football Media Days here from Radio Row, joined by the biggest guy who sat with us yet so far, All-American defensive lineman Mekhi Wingo. How's that sound, man?
It sounds great.
You're You're here on a day when your former squad was here as well. The Missouri Tigers walking around a bit earlier today.
Right.
When you're coming out of high school, you go play that freshman year at Missouri. Would you thought your path would have led you to where you are?
Honestly, no. I thought I would never leave. I never really had any points that would say I was going to LSU or anything like that. But, I'm very glad to be here and very glad to be representing LSU at Media Day.
Your coach just walked by. What was the flight over here like?
It was smooth. The flight was smooth, not too bad. I was sleep most of the flight.
First time on a small private like that?
First time.
Yeah, what was that like?
It wasn't too bad. I went to sleep. I was tired.
This event, it's always interesting to see how guys handle the event, manage the event. What was just like just a general feel now your days winding down? I mean, I'm sure you got asked the same question probably 10. What was the question you got asked the most?
The question I got asked the most, probably about a guy like Mason Smith coming back. I got asked that question quite a lot.
What did you say?
I say he's a phenomenal player, and he's going to open things up for everyone on the defense.
You know what's amazing about you? When I say this to people around here, last year after Mason's injury, y'all really rotated 3 tackles, right?
Yes, sir.
You never came off the field. The way I'd ask it is how do you prepare to never come off the field? I'm sure in high school you got series off.
Right.
You get spelled. You don't ever just never come off the field. So, how do you prepare for that?
I would say just you mentally prepare for it. Physically, the body's going to go. You trained all spring, all winter, all summer for you to be able to do this, but you just have to mentally prepare that, you're not going to be able to come off the field, and that's what the team needs, and that's what I can provide.
Yeah. Can you remember a game where you were like, damn, I need a break?
Every game.
But, man, you know what? But the accolades came, like we mentioned. You earn All-America honors, and now you're here. Do you feel that you've emerged into a leader on a team in a year from coming in as a transfer to having to be the guy you are?
Definitely, and I want to take that step a bit further this year and be more of a vocal leader. Last year I was more of a lead by example guy, just show how you do the right things. But this year I really have to take that next step and be able to explain to guys how you do things and be able to get on the guy that's not doing right, so he can know I truly care and I want you to be doing the right thing.
Mekhi Wingo is with us here on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. You're not going to have to play every snap this year. You will get a break.
Right.
You got 4 defensive tackle transfers coming in. How have you worked with those guys? With Jordan, with Paris, with Jayden? How's it gone so far with those guys?
Those guys have been great. When I go up to the facility and I'm getting extra work in, I'm sending out a text in the group chat. If you want to come get some extra work in, come in. And those guys always show up. Paris is the guy that works very hard. Jayden Lee works very hard. Jordan Jefferson. And I'm definitely glad to have those guys in the room because I think we could be a very dominant unit, and we're going to need everybody.
Who's a guy, maybe a young guy or a guy we haven't seen play much that has really caught your eye that you look and go, look out for that dude, man, because he's a player that nobody knows about yet?
Quincy Wiggins.
Yeah.
He's been taking that next step, and he's a guy that wants to get better. You can see it. He shows up every day, works hard, on time, and I think he's going to have a good year.
And what's interesting about Quincy is he can play outside or in, right?
Yes, sir.
And we see Matt House do that where he will move positions. You'll play a zero tech, you'll be shaded. Is that game by game, opponent specific, or is it a thing where you all do what you want to do, what you're going to do?
Coach House, he does a great job of lining you up so you have the advantage. He does a great job of finding the mismatches, and just depending on the week, I may be playing a 5 on third down or maybe in a 3 tech, but he wants to put you in the best position to win and help the team.
It's going to be interesting, too, because as good a defensive coordinator as Matt House is, you obviously spend a lot of time with your position coach. And we know Coach Kane was here a year ago, then you had Coach Chapman sort of middle of spring, right, which is weird how that all played out. And now Jimmy Lindsey comes in. So in a little more, in a calendar year and a half, you've had 3 different defensive line coaches. Is it difficult to keep all those voices together? Are that many different voices?
I wouldn't say that it's difficult because LSU has a standard of coaches that they're going to hire, and every guy that's come through this building has been a top-tier coach. Coach Lindsey, he's done a great job of seeing what we have learned from the past coaches and trying to use that terminology to keep things as simple as possible for us so the turnover isn't too crazy, but at the same time teaching things his way.
Yeah, Mekhi Wingo is with us here on Radio Row. A couple more minutes at SEC Football Media Days. I want to ask you about some of the other guys as well on that defense. We saw Harold play on the outside. Coach House has said he's going to move more, play an inside role. Does that change what you all do defensively, having him in the middle?
No, I don't think that it changes what we does defensively because Harold is a guy that's going to there's going to be a game changer no matter where he lines up. He can line up on the outside, he can line up on the inside, but there'll still be certain packages where he's on the outside and pass rushing and doing certain things. So he's a game changer. He's going to change the game no matter where he plays.
We're going to see that in the opener against Florida State. It's going to be a big one. You got asked a ton today. I know you're wrapping up your day, but you got asked a ton today about Florida State, I'm guessing. I mean, look, I've done 15 interviews here today, and everybody asked me about the game. Of course, they're going to ask you about it. But, I remember in 2011, you won't remember this, but in 2011, LSU opened up with Oregon. It was a top 5 matchup at the time. In the whole offseason, everything was the Oregon game, the whole thing. Internally, are you all talking Florida State? Like, if you have all offseason, spring workouts, everything, Florida State, has it been that much of a concentrated deal on week one?
Definitely, everything is Florida State. Not because we want this magical get-back game or anything like that, but because it's your week one opponent, and you have to set the tone for the season early. We want to get a win week one, so that's why that's all our focus is on Florida State.
What about a get-back against Texas A&M?
We're just going to take it day by day, game by game. But when it gets to that Texas A&M game, we'll be prepared and we'll be ready.
LSU defensive tackle Mekhi Wingo, man, stay healthy, have a great season. We appreciate a couple of minutes today.
Thank you, appreciate it.
That pause was pretty telling. We appreciate Mekhi Wingo for joining us here on AFR. We're on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Our coverage all week brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Yes, the Florida State game is undeniably going to be a major part of everybody's off-season conversation with respect to LSU. And it's been a huge topic of conversation here already today for all the very obvious reasons that if LSU wants to achieve the goals that it has of winning a national championship like we've talked about, if you lose the Florida State game, you've just left yourself with no margin. You lose the Florida State game, you can't lose again. And it's not to say they will lose the Florida State game or other game. It's just a statement of fact. It's why it's as big as it is. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back and wrap up hour number 1 from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet in, as they call it, Southtown. Of course, our friends over at the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Bluebonnet near I-10, easily accessible. So having that family get-together and relatives are in from out of town, instead of having mother-in-law stay at the house, have her stay at the Renaissance. It's a great spot right there near Bluebonnet. Of course, their 4-diamond property, luxury guest rooms, more suites than any other hotel property in Baton Rouge. But even beyond that, it's Tallulah, the fantastic restaurant inside of the Renaissance. It's all of the meeting space, 7,000 square feet of meeting space. You want to have an event for a dozen or 500, you can do it at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's the Renaissance Hotel. You can call Allison over there about scheduling your next event today at the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 360.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by HUDCO Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Wrapping up hour number one. Glad to have you here, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. And we got a couple of minutes here with Missouri cornerback Kris Abrams-Draine, good enough to join us here. How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Dude, I've been seeing you bounce around all day today, man. And y'all are kind of winding down a little bit. How's your day been?
My day been good. I've been meeting a lot of new people.
Yeah. Man, you LSU's going to play Missouri this year. And this isn't a matchup we've seen very much since Missouri's been in the league. Only played once, and you were a freshman in 2020, the COVID year.
Yeah.
I'll ask you about a bad memory for LSU fans. What do you remember about that game?
I remember I had fumbled a punt. That's the only thing I remember, but yeah.
Well, you transitioned from receiver to defensive back.
Yeah.
When did that feel like the right thing for you?
It was COVID year, and nobody was like, we didn't have no DBs left. And I asked Coach Drink, I said, if I move, am I going to play? Because I'm not trying to move, I'm not going to play.
Right.
He said, yeah, you'll have a chance to play. And I played, and I did good in the game, and I just stayed there.
Yeah. LSU obviously is going to come back to Como this year.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on LSU making that trip again?
I feel like it's an advantage to us, but I feel like I wanted to go down to Death Valley and play because it's closer to my home and, like, some of my family can come.
You're from Mobile?
Yeah.
Why did you make the decision to go to Missouri from Mobile?
I just felt like it was the best choice for me because it was kind of farther out, and I think I needed to be, like, far away from my family so I can really focus and lock in on what I needed to get done.
Yeah. What's been your look, you're a veteran guy. Year 4 now. What's been your experience based on what you thought it was going to be to what it's been now, 4 years there in Columbia?
My experience was, like, everything I thought, but, like, it's just more realistic.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the games was going to be packed. The games are packed. Stuff like that.
Got Mekhi Wingo. It's a Tiger, an LSU Tiger, one of your former teammates there at Missouri. What do you remember about his freshman year there in Columbia?
I call him Aaron Donald because like he got his body type, and since day one he been making plays as a freshman, so I just knew like if he get it wherever he go, he's gonna be an All-American. He was an All-American again this year, so I feel like in about one more year he gonna be in the NFL.
Y'all keep in touch?
Yeah, we do.
Did you saw him today?
Yeah.
What'd y'all talk about?
We were just talking about like how he been, how I been, and stuff, how he like it out there and stuff like that.
When LSU comes to Columbia this year, what's your expectation for that game?
I think it's gonna be an exciting game. It's gonna be a tough four-quarter game, and we just gonna see what happened then.
What's last thing? Team goals for this year? When y'all are in your team room in your meetings, what are y'all talking about?
We talking about the mission for this offseason has been finishing strong because we lost a lot of close games last year. We just want to finish strong and play to the best of our ability.
Yeah. Wish you luck in it, man. I know you still got a little bit of time here, about another hour or so to go. We appreciate it. It was a short segment. We appreciate you for sitting down with us, man. I love the kicks, too.
Thank you.
Can you lift them up and show the camera anyway? Can they see that? Look. They're clean, man. They're clean. Kris Abrams-Draine, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. It's After Further Review. We're here at Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days, wrapping up hour one of day one here on Radio Row.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Of course, go see our friends over at Shaw Bills. Was chatting earlier today with my buddy Martin over at Shaw Bills, and, man, it is a hiring blitz right now. I'm telling you, if you are stuck in that job, that's a job. It's a job, not a career. You don't see the path for advancement. You don't have great benefits. Whatever the case may be, you don't feel appreciated. Change that. Shaw Bills wants to talk to you. Locally owned and operated for more than 50 years. If you have a ton of experience in automotive service, if you have no experience, they'll train you. It's Shaw Bills. Go to work for a great local company, I've said for years, where they treat you like family because they are a family at Shaw Bills. Of course, that's extended to their employees as well. Go to the careers page at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. It's Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Kris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A fire that erupted at Dow Chemical Friday night burned for 33 hours. It wasn't extinguished until Sunday morning, according to the chemical plant. Investigators are still trying to figure out what went wrong. No one was hurt, but the smoke and flames sent residents inside to shelter in place. Find out what they had to say about all of this becoming an all too common occurrence. I'm Kris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking NFL news, it is what it is. That reaction from Giants running back Saquon Barkley on Twitter after he and the team were unable to agree on a long-term contract by today's deadline. Two other franchise-tagged running backs unable to reach long-term deals as well. Josh Jacobs of the Raiders and Tony Pollard of the Cowboys. Barkley and Jacobs not expected to return to training camp. Could Barkley, such a big part of New York's offense last season, miss actual games? ESPN NFL analyst Mina Kimes.
I also suspect New York is skeptical that Barkley will actually hold out and miss games purely because there are so few examples in recent NFL history of players doing that, not just at the running back position, but especially at the running back position with any success.
Pollard previously signed his tag and will play this year for $10 million. Martin Truex Jr. won the NASCAR Cup Series race at New Hampshire. Joey Logano finished second. Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, and Brad Keselowski round out the top five. Rays ace Shane McClanahan returns from a back issue tonight against the Rangers.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR live from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Our Monday shows, of course, are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Coverage from Nashville all week, presented by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, and also our friends at Rev Business and Relief Windows. We will let you hear 1 hour from right now, our conversation with LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Also, LSU running back Josh Williams, who was a fantastic conversation talking about his journey here at LSU from walk on to here at SEC Football Media Days. But we're in the top of the hour break, and a guy who I've only spoken with many times and never had the opportunity to meet until right now, Matt Fortuna, who's covered Notre Dame for a long time, and now is his own startup, The Inside Zone. So make sure you check it out, The Inside Zone. Good enough to join us on site here. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, as you said, we're walking by each other, just say hello, and you say, hey, how about you come on the show? So live radio, you got to love it.
You let me start with where you were, which was covering Notre Dame for a long time, and obviously you have the Brian Kelly connection. Watching Brian Kelly from afar in his first year at LSU, thoughts?
Not surprised because he's a very good football coach. He's succeeded everywhere he's been, and you figured, you know, despite all the shenanigans, the accent, everything everyone was kind of ganging up on him for, you strip away all that, this guy knows what he's doing. And when you could take away the ill feelings Notre Dame has toward him and probably vice versa, you know, this guy's a really good football coach, and he wins the games you're supposed to win. At LSU, you're supposed to win a lot of football games because you got a lot of good players there. So I wasn't surprised he exceeded expectations. Now, did I think he'd beat Nick Saban his first time around? No. Did I think he'd go to Atlanta for the SEC title game his first time around? No. But that's Brian Kelly free. He's the winningest active coach in the game right now, and that's for good reason. He's a very, very good football coach. I know the expectations are higher in Baton Rouge than just simply getting to the SEC title game, but that was just year one, and he's got a loaded roster with him this year.
Do you think that it is time in Baton Rouge, based on what you know and what you've seen, that he will get over the hump, that he will win a championship at LSU?
I think it's definitely possible, and I'm hesitant to just outright say yes because, the SEC. I mean, you know what a beast it is. We're talking about Alabama being overlooked this year, right? Because Georgia has been so darn good the last 2 years. So I think LSU is in that mix, but that league is such a meat grinder that it's hard for me to sit here and definitively say, hey, that guy's going to win a national championship there, although I think he is capable of doing it.
It's just an interesting perspective because, and the reason I ask it, through an LSU prism, you see the last 3 coaches have all won championships at LSU, and 2 of them were Les Miles and Ed Ogeron. And it's like, yeah, he'll have every resource he needs to do it, and it's the reason why he came here to do it. Let me flip it, and I want to ask you a Notre Dame question. Obviously, we're here at SEC Media Days, but because you have spent how long on the Notre Dame beat?
I was every day there for 6 years, then I did a podcast last 4 or 5, so about 12 in total.
Okay, so a dozen years. What about the Marcus Freeman decision? And people here are obviously intrigued because Marcus Freeman was nearly the LSU defensive coordinator, and then ultimately obviously picked Notre Dame and then became the head coach there.
Not just almost defense coordinator. I think, and the more I hear about this as time goes on, I think they hired him because he was going to be the interim when Ed Ogeron got fired. And if he does well at the end of that season, maybe he's the LSU head coach right now. So as much as we like to say, oh, man, he made a great decision picking Notre Dame over LSU because he got the head job, there's no telling what would have happened had he taken LSU. It was an uneven first season for him. I mean, he's done everything right off the field. And at a place like Notre Dame, that matters a lot. That doesn't mean it's been perfect on the field. It doesn't mean it's going to absolve losing to Marshall and Stanford at home. But I think it builds him some currency with that constituency because I don't know what it's like in Louisiana with Brian Kelly, but Brian Kelly, for as good as he was as a coach, wasn't exactly the most out there guy off the field. Ingraining himself in the community, and when the fans are storming the field there, I don't know if they actually ever did when he was there, but he wouldn't be the one coming out of the locker room and high-fiving them all the way Marcus Freeman was last year when they upset Clemson. So, Marcus Freeman has a lot going for him. He's recruiting very well, though he has run into some limitations that I think are kind of university imposed. And he's got to take the next step this year. Now, what's that next step look like? I think it's easy to look at the Notre Dame schedule right now and say, okay, you got Ohio State, USC, and Clemson. You should go 9-3 and maybe 10-2 if you upset one of those 3 teams. That's easier said than done when you lose at home to Marshall and Stanford. I mean, last year they looked like one of the best teams in the country against Clemson and one of the worst teams in the country in those other 2 games. So the one thing you've seen with Brian Kelly and that we've definitely seen in the Midwest with him is he wins the games you're supposed to win. It can be a boring message sometimes, but they take care of business. His teams take care of business. Marcus Freeman's teams did not do that last year. You wonder, is that just the natural learning curve for a first-year head coach, or is that going to be an issue again coming into this year?
Matt Fortuna is with us, the Inside Zone, covered Notre Dame for a lot of years, now is his own site. Tell us about the Inside Zone.
It's launching next month, but this is kind of my first foray, I guess, under that banner, credentialed for them. Going to be a subscription, National College Football website. We'll have a weekly newsletter. Tons of game coverage, mapping out my week, month 1 travels right now. Hoping to be in Orlando to see LSU play Florida State that Sunday. I mean, who would have thought at this time last year that we'd be talking about a potential top 5 matchup between those 2 teams going into this year? But I'm excited. Look, the Athletic was great to me. I had an awesome time there. I was part of the founding college football team there, and I wish everyone there well. But I'm excited to branch out and do my own new thing. And going to be, if you've been reading me, it's going to be very, very similar and a little bit more personal. We're trying to start an online community here, but covering National College Football. My first time at SEC Media Days, I guess I picked a good one because Nashville's a heck of a town.
Nashville's great. The crowd here has been massive as well, and the setup has been very conducive, I think, for all of us. But you mentioned that the opener against Florida State as well. You have a thought on Florida State this year?
I'm a little scared for them because they're like the flavor of the month. You know what I mean? Like next week's ACC Media Day, are they going to be the preseason favorite over Clemson? And I'm not saying it like Clemson's obviously bleeds. We've seen that the last 2 years. Look, college football is better when the Blue Bloods are doing well. When Florida State is quote-unquote back, that makes the ACC better. That makes college football better. I'm a believer in Jordan Travis and Mike Norvell. I think whenever someone writes a book about this last decade of Florida State football, we'll be able to fully appreciate just how big of a hole that Mike Norvell had to climb out of to get that program back to winning 10 games like they did last year. Look, I think they're an ACC contender. I don't know if they're a playoff or national title contender just yet.
Okay.
It's a good roster. It's a good coach. They could prove me wrong. I just feel like every year there's one of those teams that finishes the year strong the previous year, and they become this very popular team coming into this year, and that scares me a little bit.
That game in Orlando is massive for so many reasons. If you're LSU and you really have legitimate national championship aspirations, you have to win that game. If you lose, you have no margin for error. You would literally have to win out. Otherwise, you'd have to be the first two-loss team ever to make a playoff.
Well, and which they almost were last year, but five of their last 6 games are at home, right? LSU, the one road obviously being Alabama. So it's a very front-loaded schedule in that regard, and it helps having a veteran quarterback. For that, there shouldn't be a whole lot of growing pains.
The conversation around LSU this year should be an awful lot of fun. It's really, can they scale the mountain? They'll win a lot of games, but can they win the games in the moments that they need to get there? One final thought. I know you are in the Midwest. You're close to Northwestern, and the situation with Pat Fitzgerald. First of all, I guess a reaction to them actually making the decision to fire him, and what direction do they go?
It's a very open-ended question, man. I say that because, I think you ask every coach in the country right now, who's the last guy you think would get fired for something like this? It's probably Pat Fitzgerald, right? I mean, that guy was kind of held up as the model for how to do this thing the right way. And to see him go down for something off the field, I mean, look, he won only one game last year, but for off-the-field purposes, is really shocking, especially how quick it happened. Northwestern released the legal findings on a Friday. The whistleblower spoke to the student newspaper on Saturday. By Saturday night, the president's put out a statement saying, I'm reevaluating a 2-week suspension for Pat Fitzgerald. I'm afraid we're in for a long, drag-out legal process between both sides. Pat Fitzgerald is lawyered up with a big-time lawyer. 8 former Northwestern players announced today via a law firm that they're looking to sue the program. You hate to see it because, again, this guy is Northwestern, right? Yeah. Head coach there 17 years, assistant there for 5 years, arguably the greatest player in the modern program history. It's very complicated. I don't know how you can fire him for cause when right after saying you're only going to suspend him for 2 weeks. I don't know how you can fire him for cause when the report itself said he was not aware of these allegations. And I don't know if you're going to fire him for cause, how did you not fire the whole staff by now? Yeah. Right? Because this was a quote-unquote culture problem. Players in that locker room were probably the ones who were accused of some of this improper behavior and hazing. So it's a very messy situation. I had my legitimate concerns about them from a purely football standpoint going into this year. Now, you got an interim head coach who has 0 years of experience at FBS football as even an assistant coach, David Braun, who did a great job as a DC at North Dakota State. But now, I mean, he's leading this ship. He's a young guy. He's very inexperienced. The players still have a window here where they can transfer without penalty because their coach just got fired. I don't think too many will, but there's still some good players on their roster. And if they have landing spots, who's going to stop them from going? Because they don't know what they're signing up for this year.
It's very reminiscent, not a total parallel, but to what happened with Penn State and when everything went down there. And
Illinois coaches were outside,
bizarre. Appreciate the time, man.
Always.
Matt Fortuna, The Inside Zone. That's the website I would say.
Yes.
TheInsideZone.com. TheInsideZone.com. Check it out. We'll look forward to the official launch and all this stuff. We're glad to see you this week, man.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, buddy.
Pleasure, man. Thank you. It's After Further Review. We're here on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Glad to have you with us. Gary Stokin around the bend. Our buddy Billy Liucci from Texags will be here as well. We got a lot to do. And glad you're with us on a Monday edition of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, delivery, 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer. Full-service bar, sports on TV tonight, and every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. So for one low price, you can get on by Pluckers and eat as many wings as you want all night long at both locations. Delivery is always an option as well. Punch up Uber Eats or DoorDash and get your wings to fly over at Pluckers. Looking for a place to watch the game? What game? Any game. Any game, any sport. If it's on TV anywhere in the world, Pluckers will have it for you at both locations. So Nicholson and Bluebonnet, tonight and every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. That's the spot to be. That's at Pluckers. Man, we're getting close to football. You can almost taste it. Preseason games are just a couple of weeks away. You can watch them all season long at Pluckers. And, of course, they've still got the MLB package, so every MLB game you could watch at either Plucker's location. Nicholson just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery at Plucker's if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
All right, let's say ah.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Go.
Back here from Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Our friend Gary Stokin, always good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here on Radio Row. Of course, Gary, you're going to have to tell me. Do I say executive director? Do I say president? What do I say formally?
I've been called a lot. You can call me whatever you want.
Well,
just tell me Skeens can pitch because I'm a Pirates fan.
So we had this conversation. We had our headsets off. If you were listening during the rejoin, Gary and I were talking. So Gary's a Pittsburgh guy, and so he's asking about Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz and the difference there. And I'm telling you, man, like, you couldn't have gone wrong either way. But Pittsburgh would have literally never had the opportunity ever to get Paul Skeens on their roster, except if you just happen to have the first pick in a year where a generational talent sitting there at number 1. So
he'll be generational.
He will be in the rotation next year for the Pirates.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
I mean, no games or anything like this moving to Pittsburgh, right? We're just going to keep them in Atlanta?
You know, a friend of mine who went to high school with me runs the Pittsburgh, it used to be Heinz Field. It's Acrisure now. And he talked to me about bringing a football game up there, like the kickoff game. So we never got to do anything, but, you know, I'd probably try and get Pitt or Penn State, something like that up there.
I mean, you obviously have a magnificent relationship with Atlanta and, of course, in the Kickoff Classic and with the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I mean, it's just been really a cornerstone of college football seasons now. Like, is that a realistic possibility of ever having another event somewhere else? Like, I didn't know if that was logistically.
Yeah, no, I've talked to the Pac-12 about doing something out on the West Coast, either at the Rose Bowl or Las Vegas. Las Vegas having LSU versus USC.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up. I tell the bowl guys, you know, bowls are great, but you don't know who you're going to get.
Right.
The great thing in a kickoff game format, you can go out and get the teams you want to schedule. Now, that's way back when. Coming forward now, it's harder and harder because when AD saw the 12-team playoff come on, I think they went out and scheduled long-term home and home games because they figured if they lost a tough non-conference and they lost a game in the conference with 2 losses, even 3 maybe, they could still get in a 12-team playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they've scheduled tough home and homes. You know, Alabama's out through 32. You know, Georgia's out through like 30. But they also wanted to maintain their season ticket base, which also means concession sales, which also means merchandise. So it's getting tougher to put these things together.
But your payout in your game is such that, and I'm looking at here, it's still comparable for a home game for some schools, and you don't have the hassle of having to put on a home game.
No, that's a great point. We've paid more than what people will net at a home game. And that's the only way you can get them because,
what was the payout last year?
You know, we paid teams $5 million.
Right.
So that's more than they net. That's more than Georgia nets at a home game. And they got 100,000 seats.
Right.
That's what you got to pay. Now, the challenge is you don't get TV revenue because that's in the conference package. All you get is tickets and sponsorship to make those payouts. So, and you got to pay the rent for the facility, and you got to pay your staff, and hopefully you make some money out of it. So
your TV deal isn't independent?
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I always assumed that that you all were able, as the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic, you could go contract with the network to put on the game.
I wish that was the case.
So how can you not?
Well, all those games, the 12 teams are bundled in that TV contract that the conference negotiates. So those games are, you know, part of that. So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's not like a bowl game. Bowl game, you do get TV revenue. You know, we don't in the CFP. The CFP gets the money, not the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. But, yeah, so it's a challenge. We were able to bring Aflac on this year as our new title partner. They're invested in college football, number 1. They're a Georgia company, number 2. Number 3, they give money back to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. They started the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center. They gave $168 million. We gave $20 million.
Wow.
We now have 12 trials with 37 kids in these trials. And one of the trials for leukemia is moving to the second phase, which means it's passed through animals, it's passed through adults. Now they're going to test it on kids.
Wow.
And hopefully through phase 2, it's successful. Then they'll open it up nationwide in phase 3. And that's where you're getting to a point where you potentially could get an FDA drug out of it. And that's our goal, is to get one of these trials, well, more than one trial, into the end zone. And we've got 12 trials out there right now, everything from neuroblastoma to leukemia, all kind of different cancers, to give a kid another day, another month, another year, hopefully another life.
Yeah.
And using college football to have a positive impact on people's lives, like we do in our golf challenge. All those coaches that play every one of their communities, every one of their foundations gets money from us for playing in our golf tournament. So we're the most charitable bowl organization in the country, and that's been our mission since 1968. We've given $61 million out since 2002 by using college football to have a positive impact on people.
That is pretty incredible, right? It's so when you start to put it in those terms, and you're talking about, clinical trials for leukemia and childhood blood cancers, it's incredible that you think, okay, well, when Georgia Tech and Louisville play this year, there's actually a legitimate positive charitable benefit of all of this. And you get to put together some good football games as well. So what are we expecting this year? So is this a conference matchup?
Yeah. So we're going to open the
conference
season
game?
with a conference game, which is unique in college football. I mean, we've gone from, as you know, you've been a long-time fan. Back in the 2000s, you'd play non-directional schools first 3 games.
Right.
Attendance wasn't very good. Viewership wasn't very good. So we started in 2008 with Clemson against Alabama.
Oh, I remember.
Right? And now,
I lost a bottle of whiskey betting that game.
Next year, having Georgia and Clemson, and then Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Syracuse, Tennessee.
Sure.
Big-time programs playing in big-time games. Our viewership has been tremendous. Our games last year, you had 2 top 10 teams in Georgia, Oregon, top 10 team in Clemson against Georgia Tech. Both those games were blowouts, 41-10 in Clemson, Georgia Tech, 49-3 in Georgia, Oregon. They were 2 of the top 20 ranked TV viewership games through week 10. Through week 10.
So you're getting through conference play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because people are starving for college football, the first game of the year.
Yeah.
They haven't seen it in 9 months. Can't wait to see it on TV. Can't wait to attend it. And that's why we've had such great sellouts at the kickoff game.
Gary Stokin is with us. So you did have the 2 games last year, just 1 game each of the next 4 years? Or do you have 2 in 25?
Well, you'll like this.
Okay.
I'm the one that started the conversation to put LSU and Florida State together.
Okay.
And Verge Osbury of LSU wanted to play in Atlanta, and he wanted to play the LSU part of the game in New Orleans, which they did last year.
Right.
Willie Taggart came from Oregon to coach Florida State and said, no, I don't want to go to Atlanta. I want to stay in Florida for recruiting purposes. And so I lost that because I'd have had 2 games. This would have been our Monday night game, and the LSU-Florida State would have been our Saturday game.
Oh.
But we're starting with 2 conference teams, Louisville, Georgia Tech. We're going to play Friday night, which is something different for us. Primetime 7:30 broadcast, so looking forward to it.
I love that. The fact that we've gone Thursday to Monday with that opening weekend of college football, and every day feels like it delivers.
And it's great because the NFL hadn't started.
Right.
So we can't wait to watch college football, and we got this smorgasbord, through Labor Day weekend. I remember first game we did, John Skipper, who was at the time running ESPN.
Of course.
John was at the game, and he said, Gary, could you do 2 of these in one day? Could you do 2 of these back-to-back? And that's how we got to playing on Saturday and Monday nights.
You're like, John, we could, not in the same venue, though. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Wrap it up here with Gary Stokin. Then I got to ask also, obviously, about the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the playoff being what it is and what it's been. Give me some context on thoughts on expanding the playoff and what that's going to mean for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
For us, it's great in 24. As we mentioned, we'll host in the Aflac kickoff game Georgia-Clemson. We'll start the season. We'll end the season with the SEC championship. And then the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which will have either number 1, 2, 3, or 4 playing against a first-round winner in a quarterfinal game.
I love it.
And then we'll host the national championship game in January.
I love it.
Then in 25, we'll have 2 Chick-fil-A kickoff games, the SEC championship, and then the national CFP semifinal. In 25, which this year with Georgia-Ohio State, we had 24.5 million viewers, which is in the top 20 all-time broadcast on cable football or cable TV history. Yeah. Top 20 broadcast.
It's incredible, but it's also not surprising. I mean, when you have a game like like with the stakes of being a playoff game, you have blue bloods like Georgia and Ohio State, and it delivers the way it's just incredible. I mean, I don't know how anybody could be opposed to more great college football.
Well, and to your point, I think college football is at the pinnacle of its success, and it's even get bigger with this 12-team playoff because you'll have 30, 40, maybe even 50 teams still in the hunt.
Yes.
In October and November, which prior now, if you have 2 losses, you're out.
Yes.
No 2 team has ever gotten into the CFP playoff. I think secondarily, you're going to see East to West Coast teams get in, which we haven't had a West Coast team in the playoffs since we had Washington in 2016.
Yeah, against Alabama.
Right? Against Alabama.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, I think the other thing that's going to happen is now that you have Amazon, NBC, CBS, ESPN, ABC, Fox, all broadcasting college football, you're going to see more promotion for college football, which helps us with high school football. With West Coast being in the playoff now, it's just going to grow the game of college football even bigger and better.
I'm excited for it. The Aflac Kickoff Classic coming up. We'll see Louisville, Georgia Tech on the opening weekend, and, of course, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, part of the playoff there in Atlanta. Always love when the Tigers get to visit Atlanta. We've told so many stories over the years about, gosh, I remember you telling a story about when Coach Saban back in 2000 lobbied so hard to get LSU in that game against Georgia Tech in 2000. That was the start of
Les Bon Ton Relay.
Hey, man, LSU fans love making that trip. Let's do it a couple more times.
We love having LSU fans. They've been great to us.
We'll hope to do it again in very short order.
From your lips to God's ears, brother.
Gary, we appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, man. Always good to be with you.
It is our pleasure. It's After Further Review. We're here from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. We'll continue. Billy Liucci, Texags, is going to jump aboard with us. We'll still hear from Josh Williams and Jayden Daniels. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them at agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Y'all, right now, I was talking to Darren last week. The Baton Rouge market is really picking up steam. And what we're seeing is home buyers who maybe were sitting on the sideline waiting to see if rates were going to come down have essentially accepted the fact that rates are what they are and are probably going to be like that for a while. Well, if you need to buy a home, you still got to buy a home. So if you are looking to sell your home, this is the time. Right now, the Baton Rouge market is at about a 3-month inventory. Standard is 6 months. So there is still a lack of inventory. If you are thinking about selling your home, call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Call in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, glad to have you roll on board with us here. Billy Liucci, Texags, will be joining us here in just a moment. He said he was finishing a Zoom upstairs, and he'll pop down with us. I am interested in the Aggies this year, and I've said it to many people here. I think that Texas A&M is the most interesting team here this week because, number one, they're always going to be interesting because of who they are in Texas with all the resources they have and the money and the expectations and Jimbo and everything, and they always seemingly fall short. Not seemingly, they have during their time in the league. Under Jimbo, certainly, and with the exception of the one season with Johnny Manziel. But I also think at some point, no matter what the buyout is, if you keep underperforming, you have got to make a change. And I think we're probably headed for that this year in College Station if the Aggies don't get to 9 wins. I'll see what Billy Liucci thinks about that when he joins us on site here in just a quick second. While we're waiting on Billy to come downstairs, let me take this opportunity to remind you about our friends at South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. That's SouthPointVW.com for South Point Volkswagen. And for our friends in Lafayette, Southwest Volkswagen, same great ownership group. 2 different locations, South Point Volkswagen in Baton Rouge, Southwest Volkswagen in Lafayette. Remember, you can get to the website at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Check out their inventory, new, certified, pre-owned, and their in-transit inventory. They are getting 2024 Atlases on the way, en route right now. You can reserve it before it gets to the lot at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highlander, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, I don't want to go too deep into the Aggies conversation until Billy Liucci gets down here. So if we could, let me pivot a little bit here. And, Musa, let's hear a little bit about what Brian Kelly had to say. And number 2, if we could start here, where he talked about transitioning year 1 to year 2, which has been a big talking point here today.
The transition from year 1 to year 2, where in year 1, I was learning the league. I was learning how to go on the road and play in the kind of environments. I was learning our roster and our strengths and weaknesses. Going into year 2, we have a lot of that knowledge. We understand a lot of those things necessary to be competitive and win games. Now it's how do you do it week in and week out?
One of the other things that Brian Kelly said today, which was interesting, was talking about the Tennessee loss last year and how that Tennessee loss kind of set the pace for the season. Because despite the loss to Florida State, LSU started to string together wins. And look, LSU was that was a virtual pick'em, that Tennessee game in Tiger Stadium that day. And LSU was 40-13. Remember, you'd gone on the road and you'd beaten Auburn the week before. And so there was a lot of expectation on that game to see if this was the moment where LSU was going to catapult itself, or was Tennessee going to be a team ranked 8th in the country at that point, was going to solidify itself as a contender, and we know what happened. Well, how would LSU respond? What they did was they won 5 straight games. They lost to Tennessee, then they beat Florida, beat Ole Miss, beat Alabama, won at Arkansas, beat UAB. It was that Tennessee loss that was the springboard, sort of recalibrating game for the LSU Tigers a year ago. One other thing Brian Kelly was very clear on today, and I have been asked, I'm a little surprised maybe just because this hasn't been as much of a conversation in Baton Rouge, but a lot of people have asked me this question this day is about the 2 quarterbacks. And this is 11. Because Brian Kelly was abundantly clear that there is no quarterback controversy.
Jayden's our starter. He'll start, but he'll have to continue to improve and progress because Garrett is getting better every single day as well. So you want to talk about great competition? It's about as good as a head coach could hope for at the quarterback position. So Jayden's the starter, but he's got to have a great camp. He's got to continue to progress. He's got to continue to work. He's got to continue to move forward because the guy right there as well, he wants to take his job in the right way. They've got a great relationship, but he wants his job too. So I think that's a really positive situation.
It makes a ton of sense for Brian Kelly to continue dangling the carrot for Garrett, to say, play well, be ready. You'll have your opportunity if it presents, but also to avoid any sort of semblance of a controversy because this is Jayden Daniels' team. He is the starting quarterback. He came back. He's a 5th-year senior. It's his opportunity to lead LSU to a national championship. I had a chance to visit with Jayden Daniels earlier today, and you'll hear that conversation coming up in about 20 minutes from right now. And you'll hear him say it point blank. He came back to win a national championship and have the opportunity to do so. All right, it's after further review. We're here at Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days, Day 1. Our coverage all week here, presented by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Also presented by Rev Business and Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. Wanted to go short here, so I made sure we had time to talk Aggies with Billy Liucci when we come back to wrap up hour number 2. And then coming up in 19 minutes from right now, we'll let you hear our conversation with Jayden Daniels that we had here on Radio Row before LSU was wheels up back home to Baton Rouge. It's after further review from Radio Row, Day 1 of SEC Football Media Days. It was Tigers, Aggies, and Missouri Tigers in Como who took their turn today. We'll knock out a break and wrap up hour number 1 next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001-752-0001. Go read the reviews. They got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. That's our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. And the reason is because, what I say all the time, they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. They'll come out nights, holidays, weekends, never charge you extra to come out nights, holidays, and weekends. And they're always going to give you exceptional customer service. And one thing you're going to find when you call River City's 1 Hour Air, they'll explain all your options to you. They'll tell you, hey, look, here's a good, better, and best option for you. You make up your mind what you want to do. You never feel pressured into a sale, and they're going to make sure they explain everything clearly to you. Look, I don't understand HVAC systems. That's not my forte, but they'll make it abundantly clear what your options are. And I've always appreciated that honesty and that transparency. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Day one, LSU, Missouri, and Texas A&M. A lot of eyes on the Aggies, not only here this week, but also this year, as is just par for the course. Our buddy Billy Liucci, TexAgs.com, good enough to join us. How are you, dude?
I'm good, Matt. How you doing, brother?
You're doing awesome. Today's been fun. What's been has there been a theme, talking point from Jimbo and the players here today?
I think just that last year was, last year was the exception and a learning experience that wasn't that nobody wanted or asked for, but it's kind of been a hard dose of reality. Just kind of that maybe and I think Jimbo would be one to tell you that too, that whether it was the culture or the processes or how you approach the season from December to August, what are we doing wrong? Because clearly this isn't the way it's supposed to go. And I've had the guys coming in all off season. They don't talk about injuries and stuff. It's the worst injury season I've ever seen. And I haven't heard anybody say that. And I think it's more about, look, even with all that, we played in a lot of close games and we lost most of them. I don't know how many close games they won. I think Arkansas, most of the close games they lost, even with all that. So it's kind of like, I think they were humbled, and I think if you really listen to them, you hear a team that's pretty hungry. I think the LSU game, people talk about, oh, how good was it? Fans don't really care about that. You went 5-7. They'd rather win than lose, just like you'd rather see. Look, people get confused with people like me and you. We're fans. We grew up fans. We went to the college. We also cover the team and try to be as objective as possible.
Yeah.
But you'd rather see LSU beat A&M than lose to them. Same thing with me, especially since we have to talk about it and cover it, right? But I think it was more important, way more important for the players. Not that, hey, we won our last game, we're just going to roll. But just to say, get a reminder of, like, that's how you win at Texas A&M. You run the football, you're physical, you stop the run, you play with passion, you come into a game prepared, you don't overlook, And was it a one-game thing? Sure, of course. Was LSU the better team last year? Sure, of course. But I think it sent a message to A&M that, like, guys, we really underachieved last year. We can make every excuse we want, but we just didn't get it done. And this is what it looks like when what we can do.
A lot of the conversation last year, of course, in fair or unfair, Billy, a lot of the expectation was heaped upon that team because of the signing class.
Yep.
And I don't know, as great as 5 stars may be, if you're still playing a bunch of freshmen, you're still playing a bunch of freshmen.
Yeah.
So I think that was a reason why a lot of that expectation came last summer and early into the fall.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of those guys left, and there's always a way to remake a roster with – look, I mean, LSU is a great example. You can remake a roster with a portal.
Yeah.
Where were the spots that were most efficient, and where have they seemingly supplemented on that roster this year?
I think they should make a pretty massive jump on the D-line for the reason you said. So many young guys. Then they've also got 4th and 5th year guys in McKinley Jackson, Isaiah Rakes, Fadil or 3rd and 4th year guys. But then all those young kids that were true freshmen are now sophomores, and insanely talented kids up front that played well at times last year. I love what they have at receiver. Moose, Anais, Evan. Noah Thomas is a name to write down, and same with Bryce Anderson on defense. Safety, they're loaded. Where they tried to supplement, O-line will be I think the biggest definer of this football team. They return about 8 guys with starting experience. They underachieved badly last year. They had a really nice spring. That was without Bryce Foster, who was throwing
center
for the track team.
Center, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he got injured last year?
He got hurt against Bama
last year,
and was playing. He missed the first 3 games, came in, did well, then got hurt 2 games later. But I think where they supplemented and it has to work is they added a transfer linebacker from Jackson State. They need depth there, and they need some young guys to develop. Martrell Harris being one. That's a guy you're familiar with, LSU recruited. He needs to step up. They need young guys to step up at linebacker. Edgerrin Cooper can't get it done on his own. Chris Russell was kind of up and down last year. But the position they really tried to fortify through the portal was actually corner. He took Tony Grimes from North Carolina, a former 5-star. He was all right. He did all right at Carolina. You're hoping that he, as a veteran, can nail down a starting spot there. And then you also took a corner from Boston College, who was a second-team All-ACC pick. Nobody talks about him, I think, because he's from Boston College. But that has a chance to be a really good pickup, and they need it to. Corner scares me, the lack of depth. Tyreek Chappelle's really good. And from there, you got some freshmen. You've got Deuce Harmon, who's been hurt more than he's played. He's talented. And then you've got 3 transfers. A youngster, McCall from Florida State, who was a true freshman last year. You got three ACC transfers at corner, and you've got Deuce Harmon, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That position scares me, and linebacker depth concerns me. Otherwise, I think they've got tremendous depth at pretty much every position on the field.
He's Billy Liucci, TexAgs.com. I asked you off air. I'll ask you on air. My contention, I say this all the time when I come here, I love to see the new coaches. So Zach Arnett, Hugh Freeze this year, although Freeze has been just for some of it. And then I'm always curious who's going to be here for the last time.
Yeah.
Because every year this is somebody's last year here. And I think the 2 guys here today, Jimbo and Eli Drinkwitz, are the 2 candidates for this to be their last time here. What is it going to take for Jimbo Fisher to be back next year?
I honestly, this is a question I hate answering. Not because, look, when I think a coach is going to be fired, I say it. I don't think Jimbo's going to be fired. I think they're going to have. I'm not saying they could be this year's LSU, which is different because it's Kelly's first year. But what I'm saying is, win a couple of really big games. You're sitting at 9. I don't think 9-3 gets you the SEC West this year. And if they go 9-3, it's probably more of a 5-3 conference, not with that non-conference.
Right. LSU was 6-2.
Yeah. But I think A&M could be like one of those teams. You go, okay, it was Georgia, and then either Bama or LSU and A&M. I think that's their ceiling. They could be that team.
Okay.
I think to say a team's going to reach their ceiling is hard to say. But I don't think their floor is as low as people think. I think if they hit that floor.
That's a lot like LSU a year ago.
Yeah, and I think if they hit that floor, then you're talking about we're having this conversation, is Jimbo back? I don't think they do that. And I think that here's the problem. It is that contract. The thing is, it would suck if they don't, Matt, because there's a lot of other things in the program that are starting to trend positive again, namely recruiting. I think people within the program that know they're really fired up about adding Petrino and Jim Chaney on the offensive side of the ball. That's a lot of wisdom and experience, and I think the type that Jimbo is going to respect and really kind of embrace working with. Whereas if you go hire a really young guy, I don't know when push came to shove in the fourth quarter on a Saturday, does he take it back? And I don't think that happens with Petrino. And I think that's a collaborative, and I think Bobby I know he's going to call plays on Saturdays. Yeah. I don't know why until I think he just said it on Feinbaum, but I didn't know why he hadn't said it to that point. But, man, I don't want to say because people go, oh, that's the expectation level. No, it's not the expectation level. It's the reality, though, of the contract. So I think 7-5 before people even think about it.
Okay.
And I know people go, well, 8-4 in year 6. But there's a whole different dynamic because of that deal that your boy Woodward did.
Yeah.
No, and I'm
and got out of town.
But right. But I'm fine with it. But it's so funny. I talked to Scott But here's the deal. Here's the deal with it. In some way, and I said this before, and it got misinterpreted. Without that contract, A&M probably, historically has knee-jerked. And I still think Jimbo's the fit for A&M. Now he's got to prove it, and he's got to prove it starting this year. But if that contract gives him a little more time, it might not be this bad thing that everyone outside thinks.
Here's Billy Liucci, TexAgs.com. We appreciate it, man. All right, man. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number 2 here from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Love telling you about Mekhi Weighing and Measurement, Mekhi.com, with 31 different offices across 11 different states. You weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. That's Mekhi Weighing and Measurement. I really highly recommend 2 things. Number 1, check out the website. The website is an amazing resource over at Mekhi.com. A lot of times people will say, I didn't know you did that. People know Mekhi for scales. Like we were flying yesterday, and we all had to put our luggage on the scales. Well, if you go to the airport, you put your luggage on that scale, you look on the side, that little metal piece, you'll see a green and blue Mekhi sticker. That's what they do. They service and sell all scale and measurement equipment, tools, makes, and models. But they do so much more at Mekhi Weighing and Measurement. So get to the website, check it out. They offer ISO 17025 accreditation. And if you are looking for a career, Mekhi can certainly help, especially if you are a veteran. Get to the website at Mekhi.com.
I'm Kris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A fire that erupted at Dow Chemical Friday night burned for 33 hours. It wasn't extinguished until Sunday morning, according to the chemical plant. Investigators are still trying to figure out what went wrong. No one was hurt, but the smoke and flames sent residents inside to shelter in place. Find out what they had to say about all of this becoming an all-too-common occurrence. I'm Kris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. No one blinked today before the deadline for NFL teams and franchise tag players to agree to long-term contracts. Not the Giants and Saquon Barkley, Raiders and Josh Jacobs, Cowboys and Tony Pollard. Barkley and Jacobs not expected to report to training camp. Negotiations between the Giants and Barkley rocky from the start, and don't be surprised if his New York tenure doesn't last a lot longer, says ESPN Giants reporter Jordan Renan.
Think about it. According to him, the deal was not sufficient. So they were unwilling to commit to him long term to what he thought was sufficient. So whether that means give him hell and make sure he doesn't get the franchise tag next year, be unhappy throughout this year, whatever it may be, I think it's the beginning of the end. And at some point, Saquon Barkley is going to be playing for another team, not being the New York Giants.
Jordan Renan on the Michael K. Show, 98.7 ESPN New York. Rays ace Shane McClanahan and third baseman Yandy Diaz return tonight against the Rangers. McClanahan back from a back issue. Diaz has been on paternity leave. Martin Truex Jr. won the NASCAR Cup Series race today at New Hampshire. Joey Logano finished second.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We're live from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days here at the Grand Hyatt in Nashville. Beautiful day. It's been a great day. Greg Sankey, then Brian Kelly kicked things off here with the LSU crowd. It was Missouri and Texas A&M here in the afternoon. Things are starting to wind down here as we get into the 5 o'clock hour, but been a really fantastic day. And I could tell you, if you're just joining us, knocking off of work, jumping in the car, driving home, if this is the first piece of our coverage that you've heard yet today, I'll tell you this. If I had one big thesis, one big takeaway from today, it is that the conversation around LSU is a 180 from a year ago. And I do believe that on Friday, when the SEC releases all of the media vote for preseason all-conference, order of finish. Who is yelling in there? Who is that? Oh, I thought it was somebody in the main room. That's incredible. I got headphones on with the volume at blast, and I can hear that. I got noise-canceling headphones on. I can hear that guy yelling. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I think, hey, guys, do you think that LSU is going to be voted to win the West? Will this work? No, we're going to go 20. I can't read what that says. I can't read that. I still can't read that. Got it. Your penmanship is awful. I thought that was Rousky, Rousky. I thought that's what you put right there. That's Richard Cross. Our friends from Sports Talk Mississippi are right next to us. We are going to do a reciprocal thing with those guys here in about 15 minutes from right now. Real quick, are you picking LSU to win the West? Are you picking LSU to win the West? Are you picking LSU to win the West? So 2 yeses and an I think so. I'm telling you, on Friday, be prepared. The media here are going to pick LSU to win the West, I think, collectively. So we'll talk with the guys from Sports Talk Mississippi coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. I did have the chance to visit with LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels here on Radio Row before the Tigers left for home, and we covered a lot of ground, including why he came back, what his goals and ambitions are, and I enjoyed our visit. And Rivers took a nice picture of me and Jayden Daniels. So if you're on Twitter, make sure you check out, she's at Rivs Huey. And I believe the caption was, find someone who looks at you the way that at Matt Moscona looks at Jayden Daniels. Yeah. Did you tag Jayden Daniels in the tweet?
I didn't. I wasn't sure. If you wanted me to.
Why would you not tag him in that tweet? Go back and redo it.
Okay.
Yeah, edit the tweet, put it in. Anyway, all right, here is our conversation with LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. Back from Radio Row, Day 1 SEC Football Media Days. Tigers taking their turn. Senior quarterback Jayden Daniels good enough to spend a couple of minutes here. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing really well. You've probably gotten this one a lot today, but when you came out of high school and went to Arizona State, if I told you 5 years in college, what would you have said?
I don't know. If you told me 5 years in college, I don't know if I would have believed it. Obviously, I wouldn't. It probably would have been 4 because of COVID.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, I wanted to graduate in 3 years, which I did. And then whatever happened from there, if I would have went to the NFL, if not. But if you told me I was going to be playing to my senior year, it could have been a high chance. It could have been a 50-50 chance I believed you or not.
Yeah. Well, you're here.
Mm-hmm.
You made the decision to come back. How close were you to leaving?
I was very close to leave. I'm gonna be transparent about it. I was very close to leave. Had some talks with my family, with myself, of how do I want my life to play out, and ultimately came back, talked to Coach Kelly. I want to put myself in a better situation for my future, and he knew that I could have developed another year. And, we had a strategic plan of how I'm going to develop and how I'm going to take my game to the next level. So when it comes that time, I'm more mentally prepared physically, and I'm more prepared overall.
What was that plan? Brian Kelly and you sit down. What went into that?
How are we going to help myself take my game to the next level, mentally, physically, leadership, adding weight, or, as far as training, what we're going to do within the offense, what guys are we getting, how do we want our scheme to be ran. So it was a conversation that we had. He's very transparent about everything, and obviously he's been nothing but, it has nothing but the truth to it the whole time is work. So, he has his trust in me, I have my trust in him, and, hopefully we're waiting a great season for each other.
Man, I want to talk about this season in a second. I want to go back to when you got here last year. Obviously, you transferred from Arizona State. First of all, there's always this debate, like the humidity against like the dry heat of the desert. How do they compare or contrast?
Both hot. They both are very hot. Arizona gets up to triple digits, 110, 121 time. So it's very hot. Louisiana is very hot too, even though it's not triple digits, but the humidity plays a bigger factor.
What would you rather play in?
The dry heat, because I could breathe better.
Okay.
The humidity, you walk outside, you can't breathe, and if it storms, it's gonna be 20 times hotter. It's gonna be worse. So I'd rather play in the dry heat. But they're both very hot.
Yeah. You're conditioning for it right now. That's what you're doing. Jayden Daniels is our guest here on Radio Road, SEC Football Media Day. So you make this transition to LSU from a California kid, went to Arizona, now you're in Louisiana. Was there a point last year where you started to – because, forget, you were still in a competition in the fall camp. Was there a point in the season where you felt like I'm comfortable. This is my team. I got this?
Going into the Florida game, after the Tennessee game, kind of got more comfortable within the offense of just going out there and just playing football, giving my guys a chance to go out there and make plays. Even though we lost that game, I still took a lot out of it, how we performed on the offensive side of the ball. And then after that, going to the Florida game was kind of where I took control of demand of this is my offense, this is my team, and, this is how we're going to operate from here on out.
How's the offseason gone?
It's been great. It's been phenomenal. Coming back now, you're the guy. What the coaches are expecting from you as a leader, as a quarterback. They put a lot on you, a lot on my plate as far as leading guys, leading the team, getting guys to do what they need to do, getting guys on time, if that's the case, and getting after guys if they're not meeting the standard that we set. So it's been phenomenal so far, being able to go out there and just build with the guys on and off the field, workouts, player ramp practices, things like that, team runs. We're just getting closer and closer every day.
One of the things that, I know was a big thing a year ago was, and through the first 8 games, you had 6 different line combinations. It's hard for any offense, right? For part of the early part of the season, the best play seemed like, here comes the blitz, Jayden run. The first play of the season was the 25-yard scramble against Florida State. But it was clear things started to steady.
Yeah.
How much different is your approach offensively this year, knowing you got 6 of your top 7 linemen back, you got a couple of studs coming in as well, you got at least 6 running backs now. You don't have to be everything. Does your approach change this year, knowing that?
It kind of does, just knowing you get out the mentality, I got to make a play. Now it's more so make the play when the play comes to you. When I have to settle the pocket, maybe I do have to run going in instead of trying to make the play. Let the other guys make the play. Obviously, the offensive line coming back. Everybody has experience on the offensive line with each other, which is another big thing. Nobody knew that they're coming in really trying to figure out how the other 4 guys, 5 guys operate with each other. I know how those guys are going to operate. I know how tight they are as a unit. And to really go out there with the running back room, I know how talented those guys are within the scheme. How Coach Denver, Coach Kelly, and them are going to scheme to get those guys great runs. How they know the continuity with the offensive line. And for me, it's really just giving those special talented receivers on the outside chances to go make big plays, which I know they're capable of doing.
Who are we not talking about in that receiver room that we should be?
A lot.
Everybody knows the league. Everybody knows Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
Who are we not talking about that we should be?
One I feel is gonna make a lot of headlines. Kyron Lacy this year. He took a jump mentally going on from last year to now. Physically, he's more opposing. He's a big cat running across the middle, so he has a big catch radius. And for me, I would say probably Aaron Anderson and Kris Hilton, 2 speedsters that could go get the ball deep. They could beat man-on-man coverage, blow by guys and make explosive plays. So I'm very excited to see what these guys do.
Before you go, did you come back to win a national championship?
I did. I came back to win the national championship. That's the standard that I set, the standard that we set as a team because we know what we're capable of doing. We want to compete. Obviously, we want to win. But we keep winning games. We'll probably be in that conversation to compete for the national championship. Hopefully, we'll win one.
Have a great year. Stay healthy, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Our conversation with LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels, and man, let me react to that here in just a quick second. Want to remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. It's easy, it's quick, it's more affordable than other remediation. If you have mold, think you might, home or office building, maybe it's something where it's odor. You own a gym, schools with a locker room where you cannot get rid of that funky smell, this will knock it out. It's Mold Zero, mold-0usa.com. mold-0usa.com. I loved that conversation with Jayden for a lot of reasons. He has, you could hear him say whenever he was talking about sometimes needing to be more vocal, getting on guys when they need to be got on. And a big part of that is when you have great player leadership, and I think every championship team we've ever covered has had that. Look at the LSU baseball team we just saw. I mean, your best player, Paul Skeens, your best pitcher, was your most vocal leader. You had guys like Beloso and Dugas, veteran guys. I mean, every championship team we've ever covered has had that, and this team has it. And in a little while, you'll hear our interview with Josh Williams, and you'll hear a guy who went from being a very soft-spoken, understated guy who does not want to lead with his voice, who has had to do that a bit. Big part of that is just growing up as a team, and this LSU team's got it. I liked hearing that from Jayden. I liked hearing him talk about knowing he doesn't have to be everything. He doesn't have to do everything. And the interesting contrast is typically the way that we've talked about Jayden Daniels is wanting him to be more aggressive. But remember, like, there were so many times last year where Jayden would he led your team in rushing out of necessity. He doesn't have to do that this year, which is a really good thing. So I thought Jayden was poised and did great today. I thought all the LSU guys did a fantastic job today. So a lot of anticipation and expectation around this LSU team, and a big part of it is number 5 who rolled through here today and did a really good job representing himself and representing LSU. Okay, it is After Further Review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. Remember, if you miss anything, you can catch it on demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Golly, it's already been a busy show. Lynn Scarbrough from Lindy's. We let you hear our conversation with Mekhi Wingo. Matt Fortuna, who covered Notre Dame for such a long time, and was with The Athletic, has his own organization he's launching now. Gary Stokin, the executive director of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and now the Aflac Kickoff. It's no longer the Chick-fil-A Kickoff, it's the Aflac Kickoff. My apologies. TexAgs.com. Billy Liucci was here. You just heard Jayden Daniels. We'll talk to our friends from Sports Talk Mississippi, and we'll let you hear our convo with Josh Williams coming up a bit as well. It's After Further Review. We're so thrilled to have you aboard with us here. Our coverage from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. We'll continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Of course, our coverage all week is brought to you by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You know, so often when a storm hits, and especially this time of year in Louisiana where like the weather's hot, it's a great contrast, you have weather events. And when a storm hits, like that hailstorm in Bruley a few weeks back, you see roofing companies pop up all over the place. Out-of-town roofing companies from here that you've never heard of. It's opportunistic people. And the thing that I would always stress to you is, first of all, make sure it's a company you trust. Do business with a local company. And think about this. Were they here before the storm? And if in 6 months, 6 years, you need a company, will they be here? Well, Hudco Roofing's been a Louisiana-based company for more than 20 years. And you know where to find me, Matt at HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day. Do business with someone you know. That's us at Hudco Roofing. Online, HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Radio Row.
Rev Business started small
SEC
in
Football Media Days,
1935.
Day One,
We
Tigers
built our
kicking it off.
reputation by
Senior running
providing
back
hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
All right, we're glad to have you aboard with us here, and we're going to try to do something ambitious. And I'm looking forward to this ambitious opportunity that we have. We're here on Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days, and our neighbor are our friends at Sports Talk Mississippi. Are you on? Okay, I'm introducing. So Richard Cross, great dude, and you see him all the time on the SEC Network as well. Had this wild idea.
Hold on, you got to talk into the mic.
I was telling my audience.
Yeah,
I was telling my audience what was going on.
Yeah, but now our audience can hear you also.
Okay. So this is Richard Cross for those in Louisiana and all the parts yonder. He had the idea of doing reciprocal radio. So you've already explained this to your audience?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So presently, I am on their show, and now Richard is on our show simultaneously since we're on at the same time.
So we just saved a little time from doing interviews with each other to talk about Ole Miss and LSU. We'll just knock it all out at once. How about that?
I love it. You start.
By the way, Michael Borky, this was his idea, and then
Borky?
Houston executed it, and I'm just appalled with the microphone.
Houston's a guy too. Thank God for him.
I'm just handsome.
Yeah, no, that's just. Hey, Dad said I'm just handsome.
Well, and he just blocked the entire camera shot a second ago as well, but hey, that's all right. You were asking us a question a second ago about predicted order of finish, and this is actually something that we've talked about for a while. The SEC media has generally been predictable in their picking teams in the order that they're going to finish. Like, we know that Mississippi State's going to be picked last. That's not a shot at Mississippi State. That's just kind of where Mississippi State gets picked almost every year.
That Rivers is a Starkville native?
Yes.
And a Mississippi State alum?
Yeah, but Brian Haydad would tell you, he's like, State's going to get picked last, and then they're going to finish higher than that. But
are you convinced State's going to be picked last this year?
In the West?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you not?
Well, all right. So I think it's a very interesting year in this respect. I think it's the worst quarterback year in the league since 2014. And I think, look, there's only 5 quarterbacks that are coming to this thing, which is it's a pretty good indicator when we come to this, right? If you're bringing your quarterback, it's kind of indicative of where your program is. Now, I firmly believe that every school should have to bring their quarterback. I believe that. That should be non-negotiable.
Whether they have named a starter or not, you bring a quarterback.
Non-negotiable. Every school. Jackson Dart should be here.
Agreed.
There's no reason at all.
Who, by the way, is going to be the starter for Ole Miss.
Richard, there is no reason that the University of Kentucky is coming here without Devin Leary. That is stupid. Why are we here? We're here to tell great stories about the league. Is Devin Leary coming from NC State not one of the most interesting stories? He's not coming. You know who's coming? Get the list of the Kentucky.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly. I don't even know their names. Anyway, when you have a stable quarterback situation, I think it's going to be more interesting. I'm not sold on Zach Arnett at all, but I think the Will Rogers bump is going to play in some people's minds.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Auburn will finish last. We'll be voted last.
Oh, you think Auburn will be voted last?
We'll be voted last.
Okay. Should they be?
I need to look at their schedule, candidly.
All right, so while you do that, but the debate really is who's going to.
Because I don't know who they're rotating. Because they have Georgia, but I don't know who their rotating cross divisional is this year. So Auburn gets. Auburn gets Vanderbilt.
Okay, there you go.
All right, State, you're sorry, you're the caboose.
So the question is, top of the standings. It's either going to be LSU or Alabama. I went through a deal a few years ago where I was like, you know what, I'm going to be cute. I'm going to pick LSU or Texas A&M or somebody else, and then they finished like 5th. And guess what? Alabama won the West again. And I said, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. Until Nick Saban's not there, I'm not picking anybody else to win the West. Brian Haydad's been saying for months now, I'm picking LSU to win the West. Here's where I get hung up on it. When you look at what Alabama lost from a year ago on a team that lost 2 games, they lost a ton. Mm-hmm. They got questions at quarterback. They don't have a proven running back. I think they're going to be talented there. They lost 5 starters on the defensive side. They're pretty good on the offensive line. They don't have a dude at wide receiver. Why would I pick them to win the West? So, yes, I think when it's all said and done, given what LSU has coming back, I'm picking them to win the West.
There's every reason to pick LSU in the West. They still have to go do it, obviously. The interesting thing about Alabama is all the things you've said are right, but in the past we've still just given them the benefit of the doubt. Every year before the season starts on my show, we always do fall previews. So we'll have someone on media who covers. And I got in the habit every year whenever I had whoever the Alabama beat writer on or radio person that I had, I'd say, Alabama lost 18 guys to the draft. Does it really matter? And then I would go, Alabama lost this coach. Does it really matter?
Yeah.
And the answer was always just no to everything because reload, replace, replenish, Nick Saban, yada, yada. But I'm with you. They don't get the benefit of the doubt this year. They played 5 50-50 games last year. 5. They went 3-2. They lost on a last-second field goal to Tennessee and an overtime on a 2-point conversion to LSU. They were that close to being 12-0.
Right.
But Texas, Bryce Young's Houdini Act, Ole Miss.
Gumby.
Ole Miss, and then, A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, those 3 games, you could be 7-5.
A&M with the throw in the end zone to try and win it. Ole Miss with the throw in the end zone to try and win it on the final play of regulation. And Bryce Young looks like Gumby in avoiding that sack off the edge. Texas doesn't break down, and they get the win on the road. So, yeah.
That corner
probably
blitz,
finished where they should have.
If Bryce Young gets sacked on the corner blitz, the game ends.
Yes.
And they lose to Texas.
Right.
So, yes, I mean, Bama was also a breath away from being 7-5. Again, I'm not saying that they should have been 7-5. They won 3 of their 50-50 games with Bryce Young. And now you've lost Bryce Young and 2 coordinators. And I'm not burying Alabama. I'm not saying they're going to stink. I'm not saying they're going 7-5. I'm just saying I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt this year.
What do you think of Ole Miss in the West?
Okay, so I've referenced this so many times. Last year, you remember our conversation last year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Have you actually looked at their schedule yet this year?
Yes, I have. But that was a great lesson because last year we're sitting at media days and Richard sat across from me and was like, "Look at Ole Miss's." We did it live. We just pulled it up and went boom, boom, boom. And it was like they're gonna be 7-0 when they come to Baton Rouge, and they were 7-0 when they came to Baton Rouge. I have answer this question for me, then I'll tell you You said Jackson Dart's going to play quarterback. Why did Spencer Sanders come to Oxford if he's not going to play?
Honestly, I'm not sure he had as many options as people thought that he had for some reasons that weren't necessarily related to football. And I think Ole Miss was really good to him on the NIL front. I think those are the two biggest reasons. And he probably also believed that he could win the job. But you got to remember, Jackson Dart, last year was his first full season as a starter, right? He had a cup of coffee at Southern Cal, played in 4, 5, 6 games out there, had an injury, had to come back from that injury. If you look at the way Jackson Dart played, he got better as the season went along, even though Ole Miss's record got worse as the season went along. I mean, it got harder, whatever, but he played winning football in the second half of the season, even though Ole Miss didn't win a bunch of those games. They finished second place a bunch in the second half of the year.
Okay, so look at the schedule's weird too. The Tulane game is at Ullman, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's on campus at Ullman. So it's Mercer at Tulane, Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech is not very good.
Right. The Ole Miss won in Atlanta last year 42-0.
Yeah, they're wow. At Bama, LSU, Arkansas, at Auburn. That's a yo stretch right there. What does Ole Miss do in that stretch? At Bama, LSU, Arkansas, at Auburn. And there is a bye before Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope they go 2-2. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you're hoping they go 2-2, which means losses to Alabama and LSU on paper and wins against Arkansas and Auburn. Arkansas home game. Ole Miss has been much better against Arkansas in Oxford. Fayetteville's been a house of horrors for Ole Miss. Yeah. And you're trying to win one on the road against an Auburn team where I feel pretty confident saying Hugh Freeze has that game circled. I just don't think Auburn's very good.
I agree with you.
That roster's bad.
Yes. My one fear about Auburn is Hugh Freeze is still a really good coach.
He is.
And they're not going to be very good, but they're going to beat somebody.
And Ole Miss traditionally plays terrible, or not, I won't say plays terrible. Ole Miss doesn't beat Auburn.
I don't mean this in any way to be a slight. I wouldn't include Ole Miss in what I'm about to say. Auburn's going to beat someone they have no business beating.
We said that just a little while ago, but they're also going to lose to somebody they should not lose to.
I mean, I could see Auburn being 5-7 this year.
Yeah.
I just don't think Auburn's going to be great. But one of those wins is going to be oh man.
How about at A&M?
It could be at LSU. Like I don't think they will, but like if you told me that Auburn comes to Baton Rouge and Hugh Freeze has the game of his life, and would it yeah, I mean I could see it happening.
We got 45 seconds to the break. I don't know if you can hear the music or not.
Nope.
So where are you picking Ole Miss? 4th? Are you going to pick them ahead of State and Auburn, but behind LSU, Alabama, and A&M?
I'll probably pick them 3rd because I think they'll win a head-to-head against A&M.
Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, good friend. Always nice to catch up. This was kind of cool. We pulled it off, I think.
He's Richard Cross, great friend, Sports Talk Mississippi. How about that? All right, I'm handing your microphone back and turn this thing down.
We'll take a quick time out.
All right. That went well. I think that went well. Let me know if you like that. That was pretty cool. It was their idea, and I think we kind of pulled it off. That was pretty cool. So Richard's a great dude, does a great job. And they're a 3-man show. They're in Sports Talk Mississippi, all over the state of Mississippi. Richard's the Ole Miss guy. Brian Haydad is the Mississippi State guy. So they have a really cool vibe on that show, and they're awesome dudes. And we're going to go to dinner tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. They're nice enough to let me crash their dinner every year when we're here. So, all right, it's after further review. We're here at Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. LSU running back Josh Williams. We'll get to that conversation here in just a moment. Remind you about our friends at Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. We always say where champions are made. Of course, want to remind you, summer is not over, and Traction summer baseball camps are still going on. So if you have a son age 5 and up and want to get into Traction summer baseball camps, full and half-day options, super affordable, and a great way for your son to go get great baseball instruction, let out some energy, and not be in your hair this summer. So TractionSports.com to book or to register for those summer baseball camps. Different camp every week, full half-day options, TractionSports.com. And remember also, of course, Traction Elite Physical Therapy. If you want to get back in the game for your active lifestyle, you're a weekend warrior, you love to golf or swim or like Lee finds while play water polo, whatever it may be. And if you're battling some injury, Traction gets you back on the field. The same therapists that help all the professional athletes that roll through Traction will be helping you get back on the field or the court. TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. All right, y'all, it's after further review. It's been a great day here at Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Just been jam-packed and not even done yet. So we will give you a full recap of the day before we get out of here. But when we come back, our conversation with LSU senior running back Josh Williams, really it was a fascinating conversation as he kind of walked through his journey from walk-on to here as a senior now, representing LSU at Media Days and, on a team that's going to be preseason, top 10, maybe top 5 in the country. We'll see. All right, we'll continue here from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Day, presented by Hudco Roofing.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Sigan Air Airline, LA-16 in Denham Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. Tell you every single day at Clegg's. Remember, not only do they have full greenhouses, they're also partnered with True Value Hardware Store. So anything you'd find at a True Value Hardware Store, you'll also find at Clegg's Nursery. This past weekend, we had Drew's birthday party. I told you about it. And was kind of cleaning up outside and went back. We have a pool, and so it was back by the pool pump. And there was a tarp back there, and I went to go move it, and about 20 wasps flew up. What did I do? I ran over into the shed, grabbed a can of wasp spray that I got at Clegg's, and took care of that business. If it's wasps or bees or mosquitoes, whatever pest you have, certainly Clegg's has everything you need to handle that. But, of course, full greenhouses, an amazing selection, and, of course, also a great locally owned and operated business with expert horticulturists that can help you beautify your exterior spaces. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HudcoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, Hudco can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Kris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Kris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Kris's authentic Cajun meat.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Rolling along here from Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. LSU's already back in Baton Rouge, but earlier today, before they left, did have a chance to catch up with LSU senior running back Josh Williams. Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days, day one. The Tigers kicking it off. Senior running back Josh Williams, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us. How are you, man?
Doing well.
Bro, you went heavy on the purple and gold threads. All right, explain the fit for me first.
It's my dad's idea. He wanted to go LSU all out, and I kind of just wanted to be more brown, chill.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, well, let's go with the eyes inside. So we got the LSU Tigers eyes inside of the suit.
Show that camera right there.
So, yeah, this is pretty cool.
I gotta get a picture of it too. For those listening, not watching, I will tweet a picture right here. I will tweet the picture. That's fire. Who did the suit?
My dad's friend in Dallas, I believe. I have to get the name. I'll get the name.
All right, man. I mean, so you're from Houston, though, and your story is one that I think most people who love college football will look and relate to, because I mean it's an underdog story, right?
Right.
Do you identify yourself in that way?
I don't necessarily identify in that way, but I have embraced it. I will say that. I will say that in high school I never really went to any football camps, so I never necessarily thought that I would even have a chance to get scholarships. So I knew I would have to, if I wanted to play on that level, I knew I would have to walk on to get there. So when I got there, I knew that it was going to be a struggle. It was going to be some ups and downs, especially being there in the 2019 year with one of the best teams of all time.
Yeah.
I already knew what it was, so I didn't whine. I knew what the business side was. My dad explained to me, like, hey, this isn't high school. This is a business. This is a cash flow business that they're trying to win the national championship, and it's not about who he likes more. It's about who's going to give him the best chance to win the game. So once I understood the business side of it, I kind of changed my whole perspective on a lot of things.
Is there a moment where, when you got to school, so I think this is the first time you and I have actually had a chance to talk. Was there a moment when you got to school where you looked around and went, man, like, I'm not ready yet?
No, definitely. I mean, I came into LSU as a freshman walk-on that nobody knows, and then I got hurt like 2 weeks later and 3 weeks later, and then I'm just in the back burner. Nobody knows who I am, and I'm in the background of the year, So I just kind of like, I had a lot of talks with my dad, a lot of deep talks with my dad, and he just basically told me, like, hey, life isn't about like all positivity. You're gonna have some adversity. This is what life is about. Like, if you really want this, this is what you're gonna have to do. So he said he couldn't help me. Like, I can be there and talk to you all you want, but you're just something that you're gonna have to go out and do as a man on your own. So I took that to heart, and I was like, yes, sir.
It's great perspective. Josh Williams is with us. Just one follow-up to that. Was there a moment where you felt like you did belong, where you're like, yeah, I'm here?
Yeah, there was definitely some situations where you said, like, I felt like I did good.
Where you're like, yeah, man.
And then I maybe didn't get the reps I felt like I deserved afterwards. Yeah, there was some times I felt like I was doing better than most guys, and I didn't get the quote-unquote the reward or whatever. But it never stopped me. It doesn't really even faze me, honestly. I don't have to be the best guy on the team or everybody in everybody's face. It's not about that for me. It's never has been. So I'm just excited to be here and it's an opportunity, honestly.
One of the things we talked about a lot last year, I remember T-Bob and I do a post-game show, and remember we got toward the end of the season, or maybe middle of the season, someone said, of all the guys on the roster, if you need a yard, and I know someone's going to give me two and is going to hold on to the ball, it's like, I want Josh to carry the ball. And it's odd because we all do have that perception of, okay, well, you were a walk-on, and there's other guys who are 4- and 5-star guys or whatever. And, like, you took on this a leadership role in the offense. Is that something that it was intentional for you? Because some guys are very vocal. They want to be the leader up front. Some guys, it's more just,
I'm opposite. I'm not the vocal leader. I'm not the guy to speak up and talk. That's not me at all. I'm the opposite guy. I'd rather go out there and just lead by my actions and I'd rather go up to somebody and talk to them one-on-one and have that relationship with them rather than yell to the whole team and tell everybody what to do. That's more my approach on the thing, but Coach Kelly sat me down. After the season, he said he wanted me to become more of a vocal leader, especially with me going through this injury this past spring, not being able to be on the field as much and actually be out there physically. So I really took the time to become more of a vocal leader and be confident in talking and speaking to people.
How healthy are you? How you feel?
I'm 100%. I got cleared a week after the spring game, so I've been going full go this whole summer with the team runs, the workouts, everything. So
did such a difference this year going into the season than a year ago? I'm sure you had to answer this a ton today, but there's a lot of running backs in the room now. Adding Logan Diggs and bringing in the 2 freshmen, Armani's healthy again. Like, do you all talk about how do you feed that many mouths?
Well, ultimately, we all understand that Coach Kelly is the one that puts the player in the game. You all understand that, so it's not up to us. We also understand that this isn't about who is going to play the most reps and who gets to do this and who gets to do that. This is strictly about who's going to give us the best chance to win the game. So I understand that if Coach Kelly wants to go with Logan, that's his grand decision on what he wants to go with to win the game. It's the same thing. I look at it, this is my perspective on it. If I'm playing Madden, and
I love where he's going.
I'm playing Madden, and I'm playing with the All-Star team, and I got Barry Sanders in the game, and say I'm the coach. I control the game, so I want to put Bo Jackson in the game. Doesn't mean that one of the two or one is better than the other. It's just my personal opinion on what I think should go for the game right now at this place and time. So we all understand that, and I think once you understand that, you become closer as a team, become more of a brotherhood, because now you're not fighting against, oh, I'm getting more reps than him. Now it's more like, hey, Josh, go out there and get that 2 yards, man. Before we count on you, man. Like, it's more like that, you know. And I think that's what separates the teams and from the families, you know.
Man, I was watching during the SEC takeover. They replayed the Alabama game.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're going to get asked about the game for the rest of your life, right? You realize that?
I love that.
Good.
I love that.
The touchdown, the goal-to-go touchdown you had, where you were wrapped and kind of spun. You know, of course, you know, for the benefit of the audience, maybe. Like, is there something like you remember about that play, or that game, or the celebration, or the moment, like the whole thing that went? Because again, the rest of your life, people are going to ask you about that game. What's the first thing that's going to come to your mind when people ask you about that forever?
About that game? Definitely that block I made for Jayden. Definitely that block. Yeah, I would say that was something that we talked about in the running back room with Coach Frank, and he was saying like, hey, this is what the extra effort. This is what we need to do. This is what being going the extra mile looks like. And it wasn't our tape. It was somebody else that he had found, like some old tape of running back going downfield getting a block. And he introduced that to the beginning of the year. And I mean, every day at practice, he would have us running out. Like even if we wouldn't get the ball, have us running out. So as we got to the game, I mean, it was already kind of like second nature. Plus the timing of the game with it being so close and everything. So I had all the adrenaline in the world, and it was just a part of my whole deal at that point.
The touchdown, the celebration, the win, and you bring up a block.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You realize how like unorthodox that is.
Yeah. I mean, but I take pride in blocks, though. I always have, because that's the only way I could get on the field. So like, I take pride in that stuff.
I have a feeling you're going to be on the field a lot more than just for that reason this year. A lot of expectations around the 2023 Tigers. Senior running back Josh Williams. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, it's after further review. We'll grab our final break and wrap up from Radio Row at SEC Football Media Days. When we come back, it is AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. Always call 888-8888. 888-8888. There ain't no twos anywhere in there. It's 888-8888. All them eights. That's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Tell you every day to get Gordon, get it done. Remember, also go to GordonGives.com. The 8888 Reasons to Rally hats are still available. I should say the orders are still available. Place your order when they come in. Hats are totally free. They're not guaranteed, but go get on the waiting list when they come in. They'll be slinging some of those hats. Tell you every day to get Gordon and get it done. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Call the attorney that's helped injured people in Louisiana for more than 30 years. It's Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Tell you to get Gordon and get it done. Also, Gordon Gives are giving away dream vacations. Seriously, go check it out. Gordon's making people's day. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. Of course, our Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Relief, one of our great sponsors here, along with Rev Business. Our coverage all week is presented by Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Putting a button on LSU Day, and one of the things that you've heard me say over and over is that LSU is going to be picked to win the West. You don't just have to listen to me. Listen to, for example, Greg McElroy, who earlier today on SEC Now had this to say about these LSU Tigers.
They bring in 18 blue-chip prospects in their most recent recruiting class, and they're bolstered by a bunch of high-level transfer players, especially in the secondary. And I love what they just did in bringing in Logan Diggs at running back from Notre Dame. That now takes them to 5 deep in the running back room. So I think this offensive line's got a chance to be the best in the SEC. I think the wide receiver core has a chance to be the best in the SEC. I think their quarterback has a chance to be the best in the SEC. Catching my drift here? Defensive lineman, if Mason Smith can be who he was prior to the injury, and Harold Perkins, you could argue that that's the most disruptive defensive front in the SEC. They have everything you could possibly want. The problem is they have to go to Tuscaloosa. That's the championship. That's the game, I think, that could decide the West ultimately. It's in Bama's backyard.
I don't think that that's ultimately going to be the game that does decide it. Interestingly, Brian Haydad from Sports Talk Mississippi, who the show that we were on with a bit ago, we sort of did the reciprocal radio. I was talking with Richard, but Haydad said that he said, would it be crazy if he picked LSU to lose to Florida State and run the table? And no, I don't think that's crazy at all. The two games that, if you just look at Vegas odds, that look close are LSU Florida State, which that's a virtual pick 'em. I think right now, depending on what sports book you look at, LSU is probably about a 1-point favorite. And then LSU will be an underdog in Tuscaloosa. I mean, they're going to be favored to win every other game. So could you lose the opener and win out? Sure you could. Could you win the opener and have your only loss be in Tuscaloosa? Sure, that could play out. All of that will play out as the season goes along. This is all talk, obviously. But the thing that I'm trying to stress today, and I think you understand as I've said it today, is just be prepared for expectation again. LSU did not have expectation a year ago. There was no one – I mean, LSU was picked to finish 5th in the West here last year. That's not going to happen. I'm sure we've conveyed it enough today, but the fact of the matter is that for whatever it's worth, and it may not be worth a darn thing because the people in this room usually are wrong every year, like they were about LSU last year being picked 5th in the West. So if you're like going to hammer them for being wrong last year about LSU being picked 5th in the West, for whatever that means, LSU will be picked at or near the top of the West. I think when it comes Friday, LSU is going to be picked to win the West. We'll see what Nick Saban and his cohorts do in their day here on Wednesday. Tomorrow, the defending champs are here. Georgia will be here, and I'm fascinated tomorrow because Hugh Freeze will be back. And while I do not believe Auburn has a talented football team, and I think they are going to have a rough year, I would never count Hugh Freeze out from pulling an upset here or there, and I think that will happen in 2023. Vandy will also be here tomorrow, and the Bulldogs will wrap up. We'll see Zach Arnett, his first time at SEC Football Media Days. First time, obviously, that the Bulldogs will be here without Mike Leach. So we got a busy day tomorrow. We'll look forward to it. Ribs, thanks so much. Muse, Paulie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, I want to remind you about our friends over at Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. It's energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. Give them a buzz at 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. With temperatures being what they are, my goodness. If you want to we just see it. Like, your energy bills are going up because it's 110 degrees outside, and when it's 110 degrees outside, obviously you're going to have to find a way to make your home more energy efficient. Energy efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows could be just the thing you need to do that. So log on to reliefwindows.com. That's reliefwindows.com, or give them a buzz at 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Not just windows, it's energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. They do it all, and they do it better than anyone. It's at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-10.